Edy Hurst, thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm all right, yeah, I'm good. It's a bit chilly. It's getting there, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
Start
we're in that
December.
season, aren't we?
Yeah, but I like it. I like any weather that you can wear a jumper for and not feel like you don't have that thing where you're too hot and too... You know, like...
Just right.
You're going in buildings and it's like, oh, well, I'm too hot now. And then you're out of the building and it's like, I'm too cold. That's not what I want.
And plus it's Christmas now, so...
Exactly, Christmas jumpers are
like,
out.
it's gone the 1st of December, so like you feel like you're allowed to...
We're in it.
Talk about it.
Yeah, no one can be miserable at you.
Because if you sort of mention it beforehand, and we go, hey, it's not December yet!
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I mean, we don't have... Because as well, we don't have anything in November. Like, I get in a way, in America, like, there's Thanksgiving and that.
That's true.
So that's last Friday of every... And so they're a bit like, oh, there's Thanksgiving. And, I mean, I guess, like, if you want to complain that you want Thanksgiving to get a crack of the whip, fine. But in the UK, it's like, there's nothing in November. I mean, there's my birthday, obviously. But for me...
It's pretty big.
That's just for me. I understand that.
But then the shops start doing Christmas stuff in like September.
I know. Which is, you know what? I don't know.
I have no problem with someone. I mean, you see some houses suddenly have decorations up in like October.
Yeah.
Occasionally you'll go,
Yeah.
"Oh, is that? Yeah, it is. It's a Christmas tree."
I know, it's mad.
Unless they're just really lazy and they just leave it, can't be bothered, just leave it up the whole time.
I did get close. I think one year I did do that at uni. We just,
that's a uni thing to do.
Yeah. We did the tree and then it was like, well, we can't. We're not going to get...
No one's going to be asked to take it down.
We're not taking it down. So
I do remember that. I remember going to a friend's house, and it was like mid-November, and they had like stairs went into a corner, and then went up further, and on the corners were all the Christmas trees and decorations.
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's impressive, guys! You guys are on the ball." And he went, "No, it's from last year." It's like,
amazing.
Oh.
It's just extra prepared.
So what's going on with you at the moment? Are you doing some gigs?
Yeah, keeping busy. I'm sort of midway through my mini tour of my first show, which is all right. Well, I say first show. I mean, first official long hour show. Because like in the comedy world, there's like a 60. I'm gonna stop punching the microphone at some point.
Fine.
I'm honest.
Take your anger out somewhere. It's fine.
Sure. I mean, normally it's just screaming in the car, so this is something, isn't it? No, like in the comedy world, you have like 55 minutes is like full length show, and then 45 minutes is like a coward's hour is what it's called. And so I've done one of them, but it overran a lot. So really, it probably was a proper show. So I've done that. Anyway, this is my first official with the little speech marks. Full show, which is halfway through. It's a very long way of just saying I'm doing my show.
Doing some shows.
Like, I've not said any dates, I've not said any locations.
Yeah,
but what I have said is how nervous I am about it being classified as that.
Oh, you put pressure on yourself, I suppose. But that's why you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. It's good. I really like the show. I'm very proud of it. I mean,
What's
you'd
it called?
hope so, wouldn't you? It's Hurst Schmurst.
Of course.
Classic. It's I mean, it's a very niche reference, but it's to. Do you know Harry Nilsson?
Nope.
He's a 70s singer-songwriter.
Okay.
He was I love him. He's amazing. It's proper, like, it's that time of music where you could kind of be wacky, but it was still cool. Do you know what I mean? You know, like when Monty Python was sort of doing the films, and so rock stars wanted to be friends with them, and vice versa, and that. And so Harry Nilsson was like, his songs weren't quite. There are funny songs in there, but they're all a bit of a laugh. I don't know, like,
which is why you like them.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought it was like you just putting yourself down. Whatever.
Well, that's kind of it. Yeah, and so his most famous album is Nilsson Schmilsson, so I like that reference.
I like it. So some people will get that reference.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't know what the overlap of the audience of people who like niche 70s singer-songwriters is to a northern musical comedian. But
older people probably.
Yeah,
older comedy fans.
That's
will
who
pick
I
it
want. That's.
So would you class them as an inspiration then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because how would you just sort of describe your comedy? Or how have people described it?
So I get a lot of people like joyous. Like,
that's always a good description.
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know though, because
it's better than miserable.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, my kind of the way I do my persona, I think, is like a mix of somebody who is like very like doing the best but very disappointed in what they're doing. I do a joke which is and you know, I'll say it now, I'm a musical comedian, I'm as disappointed as you are, and that's for me that's meant to sum up the character, but then there's also this like rising manic tension in it that it's like a very British I guess there's sort of a line of Basil Fawlty in there.
Right.
You know, that sort of like trying to keep your emotion in and then getting more frustrated.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. And then for some reason people are like, oh yeah, really joyous comedy. Yeah. Oh no, bursts were fun. Very fun.
How much of your show is music, but less, and versus how much is like material?
Good question. I think it's probably 40-60. 40 music, 60 material.
Because most of the clips that I've seen online have all been
So my
guitar.
so my 10-minute set, which is what goes online. Because the stuff that goes online, a lot of it is stuff that I use to share to promoters.
Yeah,
to be like, hey,
I've seen a lot you're playing at the Hot Water.
Yeah, I've done that.
That's a very popular club these days,
it is.
isn't it?
It's mad.
Is that where that is it Paul Smith?
Yeah, Paul Smith.
Do you know? Have you met him?
Yeah, I met him a couple of times. Very nice guy.
Did he start out doing material and then it's just morphed into him? Because his act now is basically just banter with the crowd.
Yeah, so he does material as well, but I mean it's largely like because he was resident MC, and so the job of the compere is you come on, you go, hey, how's it going? What do you do for a job?
Yeah.
That's funny, or you hope it is, and so that's sort of I think what happened. And it's really interesting is that because a lot of people who saw the videos aren't that used to actually being in a comedy club environment. So for a lot of comedians and a lot of people who are comic savvy, they see that video and it's like, yeah, he's a good MC. He's doing great MC bit. But what was quite funny is another guy who MCs there, who I'm friends with, he started once Paul was doing his big tour around the country. He was doing more stuff. This friend was doing more stuff MCing for him and hosting for him,
right?
And then he got people like putting comments on, going, "You're stealing Paul's material." It's like he's just talking to an audience. It's not. I mean, it's very good, but I wouldn't worry too much. You're going to be really annoyed when you go and see a live comedy night, and it turns out that loads of acts do that because that's how you talk to an audience.
Yeah. What else are you going to do?
But yeah.
Just stand there going, no.
I don't know. Some hosts do come on and just like do their material and that, and sometimes it works. Like it depends on the gig, doesn't it?
Yeah,
some people.
But he's obviously got that quick.
Yeah, he's really good at it. Yeah,
he
really
just works
sharp
with what they give him.
Yeah.
But which must be intimidating. I wouldn't want to sit in the front row.
No, well, yeah.
Some people obviously do.
Yeah, exactly.
By now, you're gonna fully know what you're gonna. What
it takes a certain type, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
also, I think there's a knack to it because I've done MC stuff as well, and there is a knack to finding somebody who wants to talk to you but doesn't want to talk to you loads.
Yeah.
Because if you get somebody who's too much like, oh, it's going to be my show. This is my time.
Yeah, that's true.
Like there's great. Sometimes you'll talk to like somebody in the audience. Sometimes it'll be like, hey, what's your name? And you see a little a light behind their eyes flicker, and they go, I'm going to make up a name. It's like, well, fine, do. It doesn't matter to me. It's like, I'm called Harold. It's like, well, I'm not going to know that you're not called Harold. To be honest, I'm probably never going to meet you again, Harold. So you can be called whatever you want. Life is transient. You're only here for a brief moment on this earth. If you want to change your identity, go for it. No one's gonna stop you. And I'm not going to call you out. Like I'm not asking for your ID afterwards.
Really? Is that really your name?
Yeah, it's like, but you do have to.
Let me see your ID.
Like sometimes they'll do like a laugh and go, I'm not really that. And it's like, well, I mean, we've wasted 30 seconds of our lives now. Like, I know that's not a long time, but what do you want here? I don't know what you wanted from this.
So how long have you been doing comedy?
About 6 years. I
How old are you?
28.
Right.
Every time, am I 20? Yes, I am. Yeah, no. See, because what happened was so for the last couple of years, I got my age wrong for about 4 or 5 months after my birthday. And
We've all been there.
Yeah, sure. Like
it's like when you write the wrong year down
absolutely.
when you go to a new year.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so I did that, and so this year I kept saying I was 28 when actually I was 27, which I guess is the better way to go. But I am actually I am 28 now. Cool. So I'm right. I've caught up. It's like daylight. I've caught up with myself in my head. So yeah, 28. Been
6
doing
years
it.
Then,
Yeah, I think 6 years. 6 years is like when I think I was doing it enough to the point where it's like I'm doing it. You know,
what was the first thing you did?
Well, I was
open mic.
Yeah, like at university and that doing sketches.
Were you Manchester?
At Leeds.
So there's plenty of places to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Well,
kind of not. Yeah, it was. I mean, a lot of pubs in the middle of nowhere of Yorkshire. with people who nobody had asked for comedy, nobody wanted comedy, and yet here we are with comedy. It's like, oh.
But there was legitimate comedy clubs.
Yeah, there were as well.
To.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's like Kill for a Seat in Leeds and Hi-Fi Club, and I'm gonna feel awful because I've not mentioned Shoecake Comedy. They're great. They're in Leeds as well. Why did I start naming them? Because I know that the one person whose name I've not remembered is going to be like, well, he's not fucking getting a gig now. He's on the list, bastard. But yeah, there are some great clubs.
So you're from Manchester?
Yeah.
Right.
From Warrington. I mean, you know what it's like. Like you say you're from the northwest, or you say you're from. Like,
in comedy wise, it's just easy to attach it to
exactly. Yeah.
Manchester, I suppose.
Yeah. Like you're from Warrington. Oh yeah, we need more of them Warrington comedians. That's.
So how long do you do in sort of pubs and open mics before you actually went to try it? At a proper comedy club, I suppose.
I don't know. I guess. So the big change was 2013. I won the Tickle Pig National Student Competition,
right.
Which apparently isn't around anymore. There's a comedy journalist.
There was no after you. They just couldn't.
No, that was it. They were like, well, where do we go? Where do we go now?
Might as well jack it in now.
We've already ruined the award. There was somebody who I kept sending because you know, like in any industry, you have to talk about your successes rather than.
Well, they're always going to ask you, aren't they?
Yeah. So I kept on things saying like I've won awards because I have, I have. And then there was a journalist recently who wrote an article that he was not happy that I was claiming I was an award-winning comedian because this award doesn't exist anymore. So,
but you still won it though.
Well, I don't know if it doesn't exist anymore. Have you? You know, if a tree falls in the woods, has it fallen? If there's not a blog for it anymore, that's what I want to know. So yeah, it's been.
So if your old house gets knocked down, you never lived there.
No, apparently not. Apparently that's how knowledge works in this day and age. Anyway, but it's fair enough. But yeah, so that was the changing point where I was sort of like, after that, I was like, oh, right, no, I can do this. Because people outside of my head think that I can do it, like to the point that I won an award. So that's nice. So that's sort of where I measure it from. And it was about 10 minutes. 10 minutes in the north, 10 minutes is the standard for how long you get. When you go down to London on the circuit there, it's more like 5 because there's so many other acts on.
Yeah, there's a more crowded market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's still intimidating nonetheless.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's weird just being like, oh, you got to do 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like 10 minutes is a long time.
To your average person, it doesn't sound like long. But
no.
In terms of comedy, it's taken you a long time to get to 10 minutes. If people try to time themselves talking for 10 or even 2 minutes, just try to talk for 2 minutes with a timer on.
Yeah.
Like, fuck hell, that's a long time.
Exactly. Like,
and then suddenly realise,
like you're at your office and it's like, oh, you got to do a 10-minute presentation. It's like that's a long, presentation.
Even if you know what you're talking about, it's still like 10 minutes.
Yeah. No PowerPoint. Good luck.
So how long has it taken you to get an hour? Would you say?
Well, it's interesting. So the first, I say it's interesting. We'll find out. You can edit out if you want.
I find comedy in general interesting. So.
Yeah, I think you spend a good few years doing the first hour, which was theme show, and then once you've figured out how to sort of structure a show a bit, it gets easier to like be like, right. So how I work is like I'll have hook points or ideas that I know like roughly I want to do, because I mean the musical comedy I think feeds into it, that I feel like the way that I sort of my head structures stuff is like it's a thing rather than it's like, oh, that it's that joke and it's that joke. It's like like so what's that song? Oh, that song is that thing, right? Okay, so we got that thing, and then what's the next thing you're gonna do? You're gonna chat at someone for a bit. What are you going to say in that? I don't know. I'll do that in a bit. I'll come back to that. And that's how I sort of, it's like blocks. So when I write a show, it's like I have the blocks, and it's like, right, I'm going to do that bit. And then in a preview, I'll be like, right, I'm not doing that bit anymore. No. Yeah. Which, I mean, is fine.
You've got to test stuff out. You've got to do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Say it in front of people, see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever sometimes, that didn't work, but maybe I could say it in a different way? Or
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I've found that I think a lot of the stuff that I come back to quite a bit of stuff, especially things that I wrote at the start of my, because like I'm quite weird. Like I am. I've made peace of it. I've always been weird. But
that's gonna the quote of this episode when it goes out.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. I'm a weirdo, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I quite like it, but
a lot of comedians are though.
Yeah, I think so.
Keep that outside the box.
Yeah. But it's that means that some people will think, oh, you're weird. And I am. So they're absolutely right. But some people find that uncomfortable, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, that's weird. It's like, well, yeah.
But some people like weird.
Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
with the internet now, there's a lot more scope for people to find different types of stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's a double-edged sword, and like all your material can be on the internet, but it's kind of like how they discover you to then go and see you live when you play any of them. It's a bit like music now.
Yeah.
You know, there's no one's buying albums anymore, but they still might discover you online. And then if they come really like you and you play in their town, they might go.
Yeah.
So it's just a different way.
Yeah, and I think that's the advantage of musical comedy is that people can listen to it more.
That's true.
You know,
you recorded some of your songs.
Yeah. So I try and put it up on Bandcamp and wherever.
You got it on Spotify?
No, not yet. Actually,
you should do that.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get my plan was this year, right? Each month I was going to record a song, and then like I always do this. I'll be like, all right. What's my resolution? I'm going to do this, and then I'll miss it once, and then be like, "Oh God, the pattern is broken. We can't do it anymore." It's like, well, you could have just carried on, mate. No, I've made the ship has sailed. It's done. So I'm waiting to get probably sometime mid next year, I guess.
How many songs have you done so far?
About four, 5. But my songs are very.
Are they done though? You won't be putting them, re-recording them or anything. So if you do new songs, if you do record next year, that's all new stuff.
No, it'll probably be them as well.
Okay,
going on Spotify or something.
Right. Yeah. It's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Different way to reach people with your music and your comedy at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Because now the podcasts are on Spotify now, so that helps us.
Yeah, I found that great.
Yeah. And you can now add them to playlists as well.
Can you?
Yeah.
This is great.
That was just a recent edition of a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, right, yeah.
Spotify are on the ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like,
it does.
Because Apple, sure, listen on Apple, rate, subscribe, please. But
of course.
But I find their apps a bit clunky.
Well, the podcast app isn't great.
Yeah.
Like the search is terrible. It's well documented. I don't know why they haven't sorted that out.
No, I find it mad considering that for years they were like the podcast center, and they still had like the clunkiest app possible.
I think it was because they were the main one that they thought, we don't need to try. There's nobody else doing anything, so why bother? But now there's like Stitcher and there's a few other big Acast and there's loads of them now. BBC've now gone with BBC Sounds app and all that. So it's just exponential growth. Have you ever thought about doing a podcast?
I did one years ago.
Do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah, love them.
Yeah,
love them. Mad for an old pod. They call me a podhead. They don't call me a pod. Is that a thing? I don't know. Maybe
it is now.
Yeah, we've made it. Oh God, could you imagine? That's like podhead, and it's all your fault. That's the reason that we're because of your podcast.
But comedians seem to have embraced podcasts.
Yeah.
More than most.
Yeah, I think because it's so similar to like performing, isn't it? You know, like
because I saw some of your videos. You do short clips. Just like you play sketches out, maybe.
Oh yeah,
like the one with the eggs.
Yeah, like that. It's stupid. So stupid.
Do you know Bill Burr's podcast?
No, I don't actually.
He's got Bill Burr's Monday Morning Rant, I think it's called.
Okay.
Where he's just sometimes it goes on for 2 hours, and it's literally just him. Jesus. He hasn't prepared anything.
Yeah,
and he's not doing material. He's just talking about like what the Mets did at the weekend, or the weather, or he had a dentist appointment. But he makes it hilarious,
right? Yeah,
and it never gets boring. And I don't know how you do that, but comedians, it just seems perfect.
It's very dangerous letting a comedian have a microphone and no specified amount of time. I mean, for every Bill Burr,
it's good for the comedian. Though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's a medium that was never previously available.
No, yeah, definitely. It's like radio shows are like the first step, aren't? Especially in the UK, radio shows are sort of the first step. So then podcasts are a way of like, it's like an extra step now or something, I guess.
It is. Yeah, it's become big business. What do you listen to?
All sorts. What was I listening to today? Stuff You Should Know, which it's like I like ones that at the moment the ones that I really like are just stuff that gives me information, like just kind of documentary.
I'll listen to some history podcasts as well.
Yeah. Which ones?
I didn't pay attention at school.
Oh God! But also like because this is something like I love history. Like I didn't know I did until I started listening to like. Have you ever listened to Hardcore History?
Yeah, that's the main one that I listen to.
It's amazing. It's like really good.
Oh, I've said this before. If your teacher was at that school.
Right, yeah.
But my history buff.
Yeah.
I know it all. But your teacher's like, just read out the book.
Yeah. And it's like there's so much on the facts and the figures rather than...
I always wondered, how did they decide what in history they teach you,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so much. And how to decide, like, we're going to start this year, we're going to end last year.
Yeah, I have a proper thing with this that is it's like I didn't realise how annoyed this made me, but I must have studied like the Tudors about 4 times at school. Now you have, how many years are you at school? 12 years, is it?
Something like that.
So
yeah.
a third of the time was at school. A year of history was dedicated to the fucking Tudors. And I used to, every now and then, I'd get bored and I'd flick through and see the stewards on the next page, or the Stuarts, or whoever. I don't know them because I'd never got to go the 5 extra pages. And it's like, for the life of me, like, I don't have a clue. Like, I'm never going to learn that history. And like, we never learned about like the Civil War, like the English Revolution was amazing. Like that happened, and then after a few years, we were like, it's not really working. Should we get a king back? Yeah, let's do that then. That's mad.
Yeah.
But we don't, like, I don't
Some
know.
of the
it's
stuff
not,
that you discover that went on,
No,
like
you wanna,
crazy shit. You're like, what?
yeah, it's just, I don't know. But it's fascinating, and also, but I think it makes such a difference what teacher you have at school is, because if you
It's how it's taught to you, I suppose.
definitely,
Can make something boring quite interesting.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe, like my worst subject is maths by miles, but maybe if I had a really enthusiastic teacher,
Yeah, sure.
it could have sunk in a bit more.
Yeah.
It's just certain subject. And then as you get older, I think it's really hard to get motivated for stuff that you're not interested in.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Because it's like, it's time that you have to give to it.
you're like, I'm really going to try really hard at this subject. I don't give 2 fucks about.
Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah. It's mad.
But then other subjects, you really want to dive deep into.
Yeah.
Like, you do your homework, you research,
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
interested, and like, doesn't that tell them everything they need to know?
All of a sudden it's 2 a.m. You're in a Wikipedia black hole.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, well, when I was at school, we didn't have any of that.
no, yeah. I mean, I think Wikipedia had maybe just started, but it was still at the point where you could like make up stuff in it. Like they didn't have
Yeah.
enough volunteers.
When I was at
with it.
college, yeah, there was a basic search engines, and there was like Encyclopedia
Yeah.
Britannica and all that stuff that you could look online.
Oh right, sure.
But it was very
Yeah.
basic stuff.
Yeah, there was that BBC had one which was like meant to be a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, man, old internet. I love it. Like flash videos is a thing. They were so like, it was a
Yeah.
whole web page was what you had to do for a video.
Yeah.
It would load up and be a little animation.
Did you ever do a project where it's like, do something, you're like, I'm going to make a website?
Yeah,
And that was like a big thing at the time.
Yeah, and you had I remember at school there was a big thing of people doing websites just before MySpace had become a thing. People had
Yeah.
made their own their website,
Yeah.
and they had like the awful cursors which were like
Oh, yeah.
little, and it just
Loads of animations.
yeah,
and
like
stuff.
making everybody's
Made it
computers
go dead
crash.
slow.
Yeah.
MySpace was bad for that as well.
Oh yeah.
People like put plug-in after plug-in after plug-in, and you're just like, I can't use this.
Yeah. But what MySpace was, looking back, good for was like early coding for like.
That's true, because you could put HTML and stuff in, couldn't you?
yeah.
And like do backgrounds and embed pictures, and that's true,
which
actually.
I think looking back, I learned a lot of stuff about that because it was like, oh, I want to change the colour of this. I want to change the colour of this.
It tied in with websites as well,
Yeah,
I guess, didn't
yeah.
it? Yeah. Back in there. So we're talking like early 2000s?
Yeah.
Because MySpace was really big, and it's peaked in 2005, 2006.
Yeah, that sounds
and
about
Facebook
right.
came in end of early 2007. So 2007 is when Facebook just went,
Yeah.
everybody went, MySpace? No.
They changed the invites, didn't they? Because didn't it used to be with Facebook? You could only do it if you were if you got invited by somebody else, and you had a university or a college or something. There was something.
And then when they turned that off.
Yeah, when the floodgates opened, boy.
You've seen the film, have you?
Yeah, it's good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They could have never predicted that like over a billion people would be on it.
I know.
Like now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think a billion people have ever done anything simultaneously before in the world, have they?
Yeah.
Have they?
No, they have
Other
now.
than breathe.
Yeah. And most of them aren't happy about that.
No, not happy about the quality of air they're breathing.
No, are they, man? Yeah. I don't know. Do you
Billion
think people
people
have always complained about the quality of air? I don't know.
That's
That's
where you live.
Yeah, but that sort of stuff, because 150
If
years
you're too
ago,
high up, you're like, yeah,
exactly.
too thin.
Yeah, because when you were ill back in the day in Britain, you'd get sent to the sea where the air was meant to be like healing you. So was it always a thing? Like maybe even cavemen, they were like, oh, the air's not what it used to be.
They had some strange thoughts about what was good for you back in the day, though, didn't they?
Yeah,
At one point, doctors used to recommend cigarettes.
Did they?
Yeah, in like the
Oh,
50s.
man.
Like, you've got a chest infection. Have some cigarettes.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's going to do something.
That was back before the days of like research.
Yeah. Sure.
Well,
there was
clarify stuff.
big tobacco. That was it.
Yeah, the big money that came in.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah.
But tobacco's like
It's going, isn't
you can't see it, or
No, yeah.
like if you go into like the kiosk in a supermarket, it's all behind the shutters.
It's like a bulletproof.
It's like what,
Yeah.
like porn mags in the old days.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
look at this, you can't look at it. And then when you do look at the packaging, it's got like lung cancer and people dying on it.
Yeah, collect them all. And
But
that.
people are still like, oh yeah, I'll have one of these. Looks great.
Yeah, yeah.
And I never understand why young people would choose to start smoking now.
I think it's the
The only thing I can think of is only peer pressure
Yeah, I think
to
it's
try and look cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think it is that it's like harder to get. So there is that sort of thing of like, well, if it's this difficult to get, it must be great.
And I've noticed young people go straight to vape.
Right.
It's just like vaping was a way of getting yourself off
Yeah.
cigarettes, and now like, oh yeah, I'll go straight to that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
why?
Yeah. I don't know.
It makes no sense.
But vaping's like it's the new names of vape shops are great, aren't they?
Yeah,
It's like
that's
the new
true.
it's the new barbers.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
for pun names. It's
Yeah.
great.
I
Love
can't
it.
think of any right now, but I've seen some classics.
There's like walking past one in Manchester the other day called Magic Voodoo Vape Shop. It's like what? What?
That's why it makes you go in and go, what?
I gotta go in here. I go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need
You ever
this.
smoked?
No, I haven't actually.
No, I dabbled at school, but
Right. Yeah.
just thought it was a complete waste of time, and it was rank,
Yeah.
and it was
yeah,
just
yeah.
expensive. And I was like, I'll have sweets, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. You need.
I was like 13.
there needs to be. I think that's it. Like if it's.
I didn't want to look cool that much.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you had your leather jacket already, and you're riding your motorbike.
Plus, plus I played football, and like everyone who smoked, it was dead obvious.
Right.
Like
yeah.
after 10 minutes, like,
Oh,
half
really?
time they would have a fag.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like I know what your game is.
I don't understand, but I'm surprised still how many people smoke.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It must.
Although, like when I was at school, a lot of my friends smoked, and now I think that I actually have a habit of if I'm out somewhere, I quite like going outside periodically. I don't know what it is. Just like
Yeah, but this is the thing. But in the workplace, everyone should have to go out. People who smoke get like an extra 15-20 minutes a day
Yeah,
for
yeah,
fag
yeah.
break, so I would just take an extra
yeah,
15
absolutely.
minutes
Just
of a break.
stand, just stare at a wall. 15 minutes.
It's funny, the other day I went past my old street where I used to live,
Hmm.
and next door was like a couple of young lads,
Right.
so who at the time were like 5 or 6. I drove past and I looked down the street, and the one must be about 16 now, smoking outside on his doorstep, smoking. I was like, oh my god, how time flies.
Man, that's mad.
Smoking, I've never understood it.
Yeah, but also I don't get it now. Like I don't get young people smoking now because sure, like I get going to a vape because there's so much more with it. You got your accessories, you got like
I
the
guess
flavors.
it does, and it smells. When I smell it, I
Yeah.
go, what's
It's
that?
like
Like
a little-
strawberry. Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a Pokemon thing
But
with it. Like,
fags,
try 'em
everyone
all.
knows what the deal is.
Yeah, and they're great. They make your fingers weird.
And when you first start, it is horrifically
Yeah.
horrible. It's like, and
Yeah,
it tastes
yeah.
horrible, and you smell horrible.
I like my friends had like roll up cigarettes.
Oh, yeah,
and
they
like
do roll.
the bag of
Yeah,
tobacco. It's like,
yeah.
that's such a faff, man.
So like dedicated,
Yeah,
like
it's like,
addicted to the. Oh, I need my.
Like I just
I try
I don't
not to
know.
be dependent on anything.
Yeah.
Even actually, alcohol. I've not smoked. I've not drunk for 3 and a bit months now.
Wow, man.
Just I wasn't drinking much in the first
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
I've said this before on here, but just keeps going. And like went out for a meal the other night, and I almost. I was like,
Yeah.
because everyone else was having pints. I was like, I could actually fancy a pint, but then I was like, nah. So then I had non-alcoholic Warsteiner.
Oh yeah,
which I did,
yeah.
Warsteiner Fresh, I think it's called.
Right.
Really nice.
Okay.
Woke up in the morning though, and I had a bad head.
It's not fair.
I had a small hangover, and I'm like, hang on.
It's unbelievable. This is.
So if it's not
right.
alcohol, what else is in it
What?
that could be giving me a hangover?
That's rude. That's rude
But
beer.
it was really nice.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, if I can find one I really like, I'll
Yeah,
just
sure.
make sure I have that with me if I'm in a social situation and everyone's
Yeah.
cracking and drinks. I was like, yeah, I'll have one of them.
There's a big thing where there's loads of like low alcohol beers coming out.
Yeah,
now.
it's.
I had
it's
the
thing
Brooklyn
now.
Lager one was great.
What, sorry?
The Brooklyn Lager
Yes.
alcoholic free
Yeah.
one, very good.
I've had Beck's.
Oh, I've heard that's
the
like
Beck's Zero,
the best
Beck's
one.
Blue. Beck's
Yeah.
Blue. That's quite nice. Yeah, they're all doing it. Cobra. I've had them all.
Really?
Yeah,
Alcohol
it's
free.
quite
Oh,
nice.
Fair enough.
You
Crack
just
on,
go into an
why not?
off license and you just see
Yeah.
there's like a whole section of them.
Yeah.
It was like when DVDs first came out.
Oh,
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
like 4, then there was like 2 rows. And there was a whole stack of them.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Now there's none of them.
I know. What a time.
Look, that's comedy as well. Everyone just straight to streaming.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
comedians don't do DVDs anymore.
No, way. It's like
Like Jason Manford did his Muddle Class tour for like 2.5 years.
yeah.
On his radio show, which is a podcast as well.
Yeah, sure,
I don't listen to the show, but I listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, people asking me about DVDs, but there's no point because no one buys DVDs anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the distribution must be so expensive.
Yeah, if you can just put it straight to Netflix or
exactly.
Amazon, why not?
What's your overheads? Like, you're already doing the show.
They'll give you money probably to put it on.
Yeah.
So win-win.
Absolutely. But it used to be you'd make
big
loads,
business.
like, stand-ups.
I remember Michael
so
McIntyre in like 2010, 2012. His two, those two were like the biggest selling of all time. Like made millions.
Yeah.
Don't do it now.
No, not anymore. What's he up to now? He's doing his show, isn't he?
That's
He does
the Saturday night, the big show. I like it.
Is it good?
Funny. Yeah, it's really good.
I watch so little TV now. Like
actual live TV.
Yeah. Like I think because of streaming stuff. Like so, I've been watching like his Dark Materials and Watchmen and stuff. But that's because I've got it on like a box that I can watch.
Just
it
pick
whenever.
and choose.
Yeah.
When you want.
Yeah.
Which is how we're consumed. When you talk to older people now and they go, "Oh, I didn't get back in time, so I missed my program."
Yeah. It's like what?
Looking through the TV guide. What am I going to watch this week? I'm like, I'm going to watch whatever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah. But like my wife's been watching, so I watch a lot of reality TV secondhand. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Real Housewives of.
Well, not so, but fortunately, she does that. Like if I go to do gigs and that, she'll watch the really bad stuff. So like Love Island US, Love Island and stuff. But I don't get in for that much. But like she's been watching the new I'm a Celebrity stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been the first time in I think maybe 2 years that I've ever watched adverts because you can't, because it's done live.
You skip them, can't you?
And what a life I've. It's so weird. It's just so weird being like.
You wonder why they bother. Are there enough people who actually watch TV live to? Because even when you record, all the people who record it, they just skip through the adverts. I've got my entire program for 30 seconds, so I press it on average 3 times or 4 times, and you're you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so like what a weird. It's just
you used to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on these prime slots.
Yeah,
but are they prime anymore?
I don't even know. Yeah. Like, because like John Lewis has got they have the Christmas adverts, don't they?
But they just share them online.
Yeah.
Share them on social media. Yeah. Get more views there than watch them on TV.
But I think they've got it like that seems to be the right thing. Like, just do a good like a mini film that's good, and then say,
I said before, they just want to make you cry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, cry.
Yeah, you want to remember? Oh, that's that shop that made me cry. Should we give
them
money?
Test screenings in front of real audiences and see who cries. Yeah.
Oh man.
Of all ages.
Yeah.
Oh, he's crying. Yep, write that down.
Hold on. So what are we going to do
this time? There's no hope for him.
What's hot now? Dragons. Right. How are we going to make him cry at dragon? What metaphor can we use?
Have you had a history with hecklers at all?
A little bit. I mean, you get them everywhere. I find like I don't get so many as other people because I don't welcome it. I don't like talk with an audience directly as much, and I'm quite smart. I'd say smart.
You developed techniques.
Yeah, like unless you, I don't know. I think certain people and certain personalities seem to get them a lot more. And there's also there's habits that you can see other acts doing that sort of encourage it a bit more.
Right.
So like if somebody's just talking a little bit in a show, that can turn from them just being like just having a chat to somebody because they're a bit pissed, and they're like going, "Oh, this guy's good," or "Oh, I remember that joke's like that," and you can either just be like, "Well, just crack on and don't address it," or address it, make it a joke, and then move on. Or if you address it and then the person like heaps up a bit, it's like you're trying to put a fire out, but you're actually
because you've started it now.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
If they're drunk,
and you've sort of like opened the space to be like, oh,
somebody
no,
else could say,
like you exist. Oh no, mate, you're right. You exist in this. Like, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can be like,
or you
one
can try and humiliate them.
Yeah,
to shut them up.
Yeah.
But if they're drunk, sometimes
exactly,
you just don't know, do you?
Yeah, and they're trying to, and I feel like sometimes as well, it's like somebody who, in a way, is trying to get an out. You know, like I've made a tit of myself, but I'm trying to dig myself out of being a tit, and so if I can get one up on you, then I'm not being a tit anymore. And it's like, well, you're never going to get out of that because you're like in the process of ruining everyone's night. So if you succeed, you've torpedoed like at least
haven't really achieved anything.
No, exactly.
No.
But
I don't know what gives people the think they have the right to. It's like interrupting someone at work.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
But it's sort of
occasionally it can be funny.
Yeah.
Someone will say something funny, and they'll say something back. Like I remember one of Jason Manford's ones where he was asking. He said, "Oh, has anyone been mugged or something?" But he started that off.
Yeah.
And someone said, "Yeah, I've been mugged." He said, "Oh, really? It was like, when? Tonight. He's like, what happened? Where was this at? He was like, at the bar. He's like, hey.
Watch out. Boom, boom.
Sometimes people can try and
sure.
shout over, or it's mainly alcohol, I think, usually.
But I think as well, like, that's what's amazing. That's what I love about stand-up comedy. Like, when I was at school, I did school plays and that, and one of the things that made me think, like, I really want to try stand-up is that it's great acting, like, it's great fun, but you're not with the audience necessarily. You're not living the moment that they're having. You're being somebody else and you're going through those actions. Whereas with stand-up, you're making a dialogue with an audience. You're being there in that moment. So there is part of that needs to be the idea that somebody can talk back at you. It doesn't necessarily mean they should, but the room is alive. Like, it's not just you've come to watch telly, because sometimes you do a gig and an audience sits down and it is a bit like they've got their visor up and they're not quite.
It's like they're at home.
Yeah. It's a bit like they're watching like Live at the Apollo and they can say like, oh, I don't like this guy. And it's like, well, I can hear you. Or,
in certain venues, yeah.
Yeah, or like if somebody explains it, like goes, oh, that's funny because you do that, don't you? It's like, well, it's an observation. So yeah, that's the idea.
But even if I was someone I didn't particularly like a comedian, I wouldn't.
No, I know. Yeah.
Because I would still have respect for them for getting up there and doing it in the first place. Because it takes balls to just, like, I couldn't do it. I sometimes think of funny things and that would be funny. Like, I've made notes of stuff like that would be funny, but not that I would ever get upset. I sometimes feel like I would like write for somebody.
Yeah, sure.
Because people do that, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, I couldn't handle. I don't think I could handle. It's because it's just you.
Yeah.
And like,
well,
if someone introduces you, there's the round of applause.
Yeah, sure.
Then there's the silence.
Well, it depends.
It's like, go, do something funny now.
Yeah, I find that's like really. I remember starting out. It's really. I think that the most difficult thing is the fact, and I'm saying this as if like I'm some sort of expert, and I'm not.
Hey, you've been doing it long enough to have a valid opinion.
I remember being like absolutely overwhelmed by the fact that you can do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you can talk about anything. You're meant to do. You can talk about anything you choose to. And it's like, well, how the?
Which sometimes can be a bit too much of a choice.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, I get why some people would just be like, oh, I'm doing political stuff, or I'm just doing this.
It can be easier.
Yeah, because that's like
pick a theme and do that.
Yeah, to filter your world.
It's easier, I suppose, to change it every time.
Yeah,
to pick something, because otherwise you may keep going in and out of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Every time around, but there's no right or wrong way to do it. But so you've never been terrified of that silence? You obviously got over that hump.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel good. Is that happened? It does happen.
But there's probably more to be learned from bad experiences that way than anything else.
I think so. I think you learn
about yourself, about whether you can handle these situations, and
absolutely.
Can you if it goes horrifically and you get humiliated, like, do I want to do that again? Do I want to put myself through that?
Yeah, that's the big thing. I think that's like.
But there might have been one moment in the whole thing where you think that was enough for me to want to get through all that and just try and get the good bits.
Yeah, like that was one of the things is that so like I'm a like before I did lots of musical comedy in my stuff. There's a really old clip of me from Chortle student comedy where I'm doing this really surreal story about being able to control worms. And it was like very high energy, very
that made me laugh just the thought of it.
But it's just mad. It's just like I come on to the stage, I throw chairs out the way, I'm shouting, and it's like it's mostly all energy is what the whole bit is. Like this
is Lee Evans style.
Yeah. But obviously like doing that to all like the great and the good of Yorkshire pubs in the middle of the Dales. Not everyone wants that when they're like, oh, you're going to do a bit of Blue for the Dads. It's like, no, I'm going to do a story about controlling worms, baby. It's like, and I totally get that. But so it dealt with a lot of silence.
The other thing that you have the advantage of now is stuff going online.
Yeah,
you can review yourself and sort of track your progress and go back 5 years ago, what was I doing then? See how you've never really had that option before, unless you actually got to the level of being able to put something out.
Yeah, it is.
I suppose you could record yourself still, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, not quite the same. It's interesting because I think now you can see the comedians that are on the younger comedians that are on TV now, sort of their whole careers hypothetically could be online. You know what I mean? Like their first few gigs could have gone up, and then if they've not taken them down or if somebody else put them up there, that's like their whole career is being documented in a way that has never been done before.
That's true. It's like the Peter Kay, Jason Manford, a few others, now that they've become famous, all their old comedy store, like Jongleurs and all that. That stuff's been, it was obviously videotape, VHS back in the day, has been put put online.
Yeah,
And it's brilliant to go back and see what they were like then versus now. Like they've got some of that gold in there. There's something.
And it's still
diamond in the rough type of stuff versus the full polished thing that they have now.
But even
it's interesting.
Even with that, like you look at that, and the stuff that they've had recorded is TV stuff. You know what I mean? Like the first time that you sort of are introduced to that comedian, it's not like a clip of them on the Wirral doing 10 minutes for an open mic. It's like live at the Comedy Store, so a Saturday night show. I think now we're like at a point where you can see comedians doing like when they were like literally their 5th gig. And now,
everything's documented from day one, isn't it? Which is that better, or is that?
I don't know.
For some people it will be. For some people it won't.
I think it works for it's different horses, different courses. Is that a phrase?
Horses for courses.
Yeah, different.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I don't know.
No, I think that's what it means. Horses for courses doesn't really matter.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's what I meant. Is that what I meant? I don't know.
Who knows what you meant?
I've committed to it now. This is it. Too late. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Cool.
So, do you feel there's like a percentage where you are, like 100% is the finished article?
Oh,
where do you think you are now?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Because it can change. It can like you could say like, oh, probably 5%, and then you never know what gig might come up, and it just no, I'm at 40%. You just never know.
Yeah, I think I'm getting there. I mean, I think a lot of it is like guess, you know, on Guess Who you have the board and you like flick and a bit of like finding your comic voice, or what for me finding my comic voice has been like, is it that guy? No. Is it no, maybe that, all right, leave that one up for a bit, and then so actually it's been more looking through doors and going like, nope.
Trial and error.
Yeah, exactly. And
that game could have been called trial and error. Although have you tried to play Guess Who these days?
No. Oh. Is
it male? No. Is it female? No. What the hell is it then? We don't know. What does he identify as?
I mean, it's a good question. How much information is there available in the Guess Who game?
Did you start off just doing material, or did you always start off doing music as well?
Nah, yeah, started off doing material and the guitar crept in. So
interesting.
Yeah, I always played, like I was in bands and stuff, but I didn't want to do musical comedy. I still don't really want to. I mean,
everyone just thinks of Bill Bailey.
Yeah,
is the ultimate example of that.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Like Bill Bailey's. I think the thing with musical, it has a bit of a bad rep on the circuit, and I think largely because people keep saying it has a bad rep, so we should stop saying it.
Yeah. I've never watched Bill Bailey go, no, that wasn't
really exactly. Good. You never watch a musical comedian and go, I didn't. Well, some of them you do.
Most of them are all right.
I think the thing is, like, the ones that you do see are so good, and whereas.
Then you see the other end of the scale.
Yeah, and there's such a margin. Whereas somebody who's just telling you their opinion on stage, like it's like,
it's got to be funny at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like this guy wasn't necessarily funny, but it was kind of interesting. He was engaging. He knew where he was. Whereas if a musical comedy song isn't funny, and chances are, if it's not funny, it's probably not going to be very good either. It's just excruciating.
You get some comedians who've learned just enough guitar to do comedy guitar, whereas like Bill Bailey's a proper musician.
Yeah.
So he comes up with like I remember him doing a routine about ringtones.
Yeah,
he played the ringtone and he added like stuff to it. Like, it's a really good tune, this.
Yeah,
and he starts doing drum and bass to it.
It's amazing. What I loved. This was one of the things that I started. I looked at Bill Bailey specifically for it because. I really wanted to make sure that rather than it being music that had comedy in, it was comedy that had music in.
Yes,
which is what
that's the best way to look at it.
That's what Bill Bailey does. Like he doesn't. None of his like even the songs that like pastiches and parodies are specific. You know, like the Billy. Like, have you heard the Billy Bragg one? I think it's a socialist love song or something.
I've heard some of his stuff, but I don't know.
It's great. It's really good, but it's like it's written in the style of a protest song, and it's a love song, and it's clear that he really loves Billy Bragg. Like it's clear that there is a real love and a passion for that type of music, and that also he's taking the piss out of it, and that he's trying to do this love song that has some feeling. You know, but the joke isn't just I've come up with some jokes and I'm going to shoehorn them into a tune. Like
just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
So how do you normally work it when you come up with stuff musically?
I don't know.
Do you try and write a funny song, or do you come up with a comedy idea and then try and turn it into music?
There's a few things. So like a lot of my songs are really short, like about 30 seconds, if that. So for those, they're sort of like musical one-liners, really.
Right.
So it'll be like for them a lot of the time. My point of view of it is like, so I've got one which is like, when I close my eyes, it's your face that shines through. God, I regret these eyelid tattoos.
I saw that one, yeah.
And that's like, it's sort of trying to. So with them, I did a lot of writing where I'll try and take things that sound like they're a normal song and then twist them a bit. I mean, it's like a standard one-line I think is taking an idiom and changing it slightly.
Yeah.
Like you take a figure of speech, and so I guess I was doing the equivalent of that with them. So there's that, and then a lot of them are just stupid ideas. Like I think most of the stuff I have that like I really like are things that I come up with. I write them down, and I'm like, this is stupid. This really do not. You should. If you can't do this in public, this is stupid. This is really like, people have paid money. They're giving you time from their life, and you're gonna do that, and then I do it, and it's really. I think the thing is, at least it's funny to me. If nobody else likes it, it's like. I suppose
the longer you do it, the more confidence you have to just do stuff like that.
And I think
do it.
That
was the worst that could happen.
Yeah, and that was the thing from like what I was saying earlier about coming back to material is some stuff that I had ideas for. I sort of, when I was younger as a comedian, I wimped out of a bit because it's like. I think a lot,
your comfort zone.
Yeah, like, and so much of doing stupid stuff is selling it, because if you're looking at the audience going like, I'm not sure about it either, it's not funny, because sometimes
you've got to have some conviction.
Yeah, like
you've actually got to think it's funny.
Exactly, and like sometimes the funniest part of doing something like that is that difference between you and the audience, like the fact that. You're being so like, this is the best thing that's ever been written.
Yeah,
you're kidding.
It's the delivery. Can make it funny sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Lee Evans is obviously a classic example. He can be funny without saying any words.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So then when you're already on the floor laughing, so then when he does say something, it's going to be funny. It's a different way of doing things, but it's conviction. It's like when football players sing the national anthem.
Yeah,
it's all. You don't even need to know the words. It's
You gotta just open your mouth.
No one notices. No one cares.
Yeah, sure.
But if you look like you're going for it, like, look at him.
Yeah,
he really loves his country. I don't know the words.
Have you ever seen the mascot's minute silence Twitter?
I think so.
Oh mate,
what is it?
It's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying.
Mascot's minute silence.
Yeah. So this person. Have a look. This person has taken photos, like screen grabs of TV of when they do the minute silence.
Yeah.
And it's very serious. It's very like, obviously it's like time to remember those. But at no point has anybody thought, should we not have Goonie the Gunner out on the pitch with us? No, let's leave him out there. And so it's just these pictures of like men in the mascot suits, like leaning over and trying to look as somber as they can whilst they've got these big stupid plastered on grins. And it's amazing. It's like, I love that as well. It's like, this has happened enough times now that people should be able to go, we probably shouldn't have these guys out here anymore.
No, with a big smiley face.
It's a bit disrespectful having Fred the Red here whilst we're having a minute silence for those we've lost in the wars. Yeah, but Fred wants to show his respect too. Oh, right, no, fair enough. Fred should.
Makes him look sinister, is that going?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, and some of them try and crumple up over, others are like that, and it's magic. Absolutely magic.
Isn't the internet brilliant for stuff like that?
It's incredible.
People just think
what
of
a time to be alive.
Create it.
One of my favourite things is somebody compiled all of Richard Madeley's best quotes, like the
worst quotes.
Yeah, the best worst quotes. And there was like, my favourite one is like, it was a Richard and Judy bit where this motorcyclist was meeting the paramedic who'd saved his life after an accident.
Yeah.
And Richard Madeley just goes, "Oh, stop crying! This is meant to be happy." Anyway, after the break, we've got the world's biggest dog, and it is big. It's like, this is amazing. Just brilliant. Yeah, that's what's great about the internet. It's like back in the day, you used to just have to wait. Hope a magazine struck gold, and that you could share that with your friends or something. Now it's like,
I just love laughing.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's all right.
It's kind of an addiction.
Yeah,
it's a good addiction.
Yeah,
it's better than smoking anyway.
Yeah, better than heroin, I think.
But there's apparently lots of like health benefits to laughter.
Yeah.
Because it's a mental. If you're laughing, then obviously it helps mentally.
Yeah, I guess you're getting the is it dopamine that releases or one of them. One of that. You could just put it on and it sounds smart, doesn't it?
Some people who just don't seem to like fun.
Yeah, especially like when I noticed this starting to do clubs a bit more. Like, I mean, it's not like I'm. Yeah, there's this real like a blokey macho alpha thing where it's like,
especially if he's with a woman.
Yeah. Or like a group of their mates, and it's like they'll come in, they'll sit in the front row, and it's like, oh, did you have a nice time at the comedy, Terry? Yeah, it's great. I didn't laugh once. What? You've wasted your money.
Why do people go?
Yeah, I don't get it.
And people easily offended shouldn't probably go to late night comedy shows.
Yeah. I feel like it's pick your battles with that sort of stuff. Like, if you were offended by something, have a chat like in the break. If legitimately the content upset you or something, maybe have like a quiet word with the management and be like, look, I don't really feel comfortable with what's, I don't know. But then,
it's, as Steve Hughes, the comedian.
Oh yeah.
As he says, it's okay to be offended. Nothing's going to happen. You can't die of being offended.
No, it's true.
It's not infectious.
Yeah. although I have done gigs where, like, especially when you start out and there's less stringent editorial booking, and the words of people, some of the things that come out of people's mouths is like
heckling of comedians.
The material of the people who are going on is like, you should not say that. That's like, and in a way, actually somebody calling that out and
like
being
open mic level sort of. Though.
Yeah. It's not generally, I think when you get to a club level, it's not. It's like the bookers have seen these people before.
That's
they
true,
know that they're not like. It's not. They're not.
So they don't have open mics of brand new people then. Like at the more established clubs.
They'll do like gong shows are the big thing with that. So like in Manchester, there's the Comedy Store has King Gong and Frog and Bucket has Beat the Frog. And if you're a newish act and you want to perform there, you go on this thing where you have 5 minutes and the audience can say when they want you to leave. You've got to make the 5 minutes. And if they don't like you, they'll lift the cards up and slam the gong.
That sounds like a good challenge.
Yeah,
have you experienced that?
Yeah, it didn't work. I'm not. The problem is for me. Like, obviously, if I'd done really well at them, I'd be like, oh my god, they're such a great way of figuring out talent. They really know. But I do think that there's something like, as if you're a more esoteric act, or you're an act that, like, I don't know. There's just some acts that are sort of strange, but would like there's Tony Law, who's a huge comedian who very surreal, and he was a club, like, he performed in clubs for years before he was like a regular touring comedian. But if he'd started doing comedy in a time when, like, the Gong Show was the only way for you to get on stage, I don't think he would have a career. And it's like, what a shame that would be, when he's somebody who is so good, but the opportunity for him wasn't there because he made an audience not. I don't know. It's like, because when you listen to music and it's a band, I don't think experiencing a band is improved by you listening to it and going, oh, I'm enjoying this, but is it good?
Like having that moment, overanalyzing it, rather than just going with the moment.
Like
just going with your sort of your first reaction, your natural reaction. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, exactly. I think it adds an extra. Like I think it's only modern art galleries and gong shows where people will go see something and go, oh, I like that, but is it good? It's like, that's the only, and then I don't know.
Is that kind of like what it's for?
yeah. Well, because with I guess
I suppose
so.
Because they're asking you to make a decision, so you've got to ask that question.
Like
I
this,
guess.
like this person's sort of the first time they've ever gone on stage, they're really nervous. Should we judge them as well?
That would be horrific.
I don't know,
but like the difference, like, or the connection between comedy and music. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to been a solo musician.
Right. Yeah.
I was in a band, so if we fail, we all fail together.
Yeah, that's nice.
Whereas if you're a comedian, it's just you.
Yeah,
it's all on you. You're good, the good and the bad. I wouldn't like that kind of pressure.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I was never very good in bands because I couldn't. I
don't work well with others.
Kind of, yeah. I could just get distracted and sort of like I sort of like the way I work on things is like I do a very small amount of lots of different things all at once. So I just have absolute sympathy for anyone trying to creatively work with me in that respect, because it's like, oh mate, let's sit down and do this. Yeah, but also I've got these 3 other things I've committed to doing immediately now.
And you've got 4 or 5 other people.
Yeah,
you've all got to be on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas yourself, it's a bit like when you go from school to college, and all of a sudden you've got no one telling you where to be, what to do, what to study. You go do this on your own time. Off you go.
Yeah.
What do I? How much time do I do on this? I'll go and play my computer.
yeah. That's the story of my
self-discipline, though, isn't it?
I know.
Comedy is a lot about. I mean, like, I remember one comedian. I can't remember who it was. A big comedian was talking to another big comedian, and he was saying, one day someone gave me a bit of advice where I wasn't getting very far.
Right.
But I was only doing a couple of spots a week. And he was like, well, how many hours are you putting on? It's like, if it's a job, how many hours are you putting in?
Yeah, sure.
And he just kind of made him realise, no, I'm not working enough. I need to do more.
Yeah. I think there was Jason Manford has a similar story with Peter Kay when he spoke to Peter Kay about this, and he was saying like, well, if you're being a comedian full time, you should
treat it like a job.
Yeah, do it full time. We'll get up in the morning, do it like that.
How do you approach it then? Do you try and have sessions where you try and write ideas?
Yeah. So I have a little on my phone. I have a notes, and every time like I get an idea of something, which varies from like the stupid to like no.
But you should record everything.
Yeah.
Same with musicians and riffs and lyric ideas. Just record everything because you never know.
Yeah, and then there'll be like a time where it's like you tip the bucket out and be like, right, what of this is all right?
Sift through all this.
Is this any good? Maybe that can work.
Or
maybe
sometimes
that
you're
can
like,
work.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the majority of the time. Like, what?
Yeah.
Put what, a giant ring on stage? What does that? What does that mean?
I need to make better notes.
Yeah.
But
hats are upstairs shoes? What is this? That's not a joke.
So do you treat it like a job then these days? Have you got to that point?
I try to. It's yes. It's interesting at the moment for me because I never realised going into comedy how much of it is admin, because it's so much like sending emails out to people, getting bookings in, and it's fun. Like I'm all right at it. Like
you're like a one man.
Yeah,
company.
You're
the managing director, but you're also the cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, unless you get like an agent or management. That, which would be nice. But
have you worked with other people? Like other people got you gigs?
Yeah. We've all like organised nights through them and promoted stuff, and like booked them things. They booked me and that. Yeah, it's a big range, but it's weird because like. It's balancing that actually creating stuff and writing stuff and then going out and testing it with the nitty gritty of emailing promoters and like being like, right, I've not emailed this guy in 2 months.
And then doing your social media.
Yeah,
because you're quite good on social media.
I'm all I've lagged a little bit recently. I think
you just sort of go through phases of
that's
if you think of something, you just do it.
Exactly. I liked after Edinburgh, I just started making them videos, and I really liked how easy it was to make something that was like just a little idea.
So, because it's mainly on Instagram. That's the best place for it. So, how do you do them? Do you edit it and then put it on Instagram?
No, it's all on the iPhone. Right. So I film myself on there. I use iMovie, and
because you were doing the two. You were playing. Obviously, it was both you. You were playing two, like you and your flatmate sort of thing.
Yeah,
I saw that one. So that's just all recorded on the phone. And
yeah.
That's really good.
It's great. Well, I mean, yeah. I like the idea of like it's very me, like taking the piss out of a niche genre, like because you get all of those videos of people like share, like there's that guy who does a great one, which it's always taking the mick out of like things his girlfriend says, but he just puts a wig on for that, and it's like, but that idea, I just like the idea of that being like, what, it's not real.
Well, it's like, did you ever see that Lee Evans sketch in the middle of his show where he was doing him, his boss, and his wife trying to get a pay rise?
No.
He's doing all three. Yeah. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
That's classic, that one. But the energy to play all three characters, just like you run outside, fall over, go through the door, put a wig on, no, and then you come out and go, all that, just a fucking no.
Yeah.
But like you're watching sort of his work, live in front of you. It's just like
that's what's great is that because you're in that moment, like you're there with him, and that's part of what makes it so funny is like that's happening for you.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one who's a musician as well. Like all the music in all his show, he wrote himself. Every music that you see, like there's the beginning of one of them where there's no piano there, but he's rehearsed it so well with the sound. When he moves his hand, it sounds like a piano's there, and there's nothing. And he's flying across the stage, and he goes dun dun. He just flies across. How you time that, I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and every stage is different. All the dimensions of every stage.
Yeah. So he has to arrive early. Yeah.
Do you know he got into comedy like by accident?
Oh, really? No.
He went. I think he was a musician, and went to some sort of talent competition.
Yeah.
So he was, but on his way to the stage, he fell over. Lots of funny stuff happened, but everyone was laughing at that. But he hadn't even started.
Amazing.
And he just realised that he had this way of just. People just thought he was funny just by body language.
Right.
Before he even did anything. So it just kind of went from there. I think he won a talent competition, then it just went from there. He didn't even want to be in comedy.
Talent competition. Amazing.
So it's not like he dedicated his life and he was trying to work his way.
Yeah,
it
sure.
Happened by accident. He became one of the biggest comedians ever.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Have you noticed a big difference between like British comedy and American comedy in terms of like they don't not many of them play like it's a standard here for them to work your way up, just play arenas.
Yeah,
and then it's changing now, but it's always been like you work your way up, you do your hour and a half, you put it on DVD, then a couple of years later you do another one. Where in America they don't seem to do the big arenas as much. Like it's like Kevin Hart and Joe Rogan starting to do some big ones, but they tend to stay around the smaller, intimate venues because they seem to prefer it.
Yeah. I guess it's there was a great Stuart Lee has a great thing on this that he said that sort of a comparison is it's like in America they consider stand-up comedy, or until quite recently where there's been a lot of changes in format and people playing about like jazz. So it's more like the way that you play it rather than the actual, because jazz musicians, they'll play the same songs.
Improvise, isn't it?
Yeah, whereas the UK's more like, I guess, like rock music, or I mean, this is not what he says, but it's that sort of thing where, like the Beatles, they did do covers originally, but then they moved on to doing their original stuff. And it's like, as an audience, you expect a comedian to come out and do stuff that is their own. Whereas in America, they can do things that are kind of similar. So they've got a take on something. Like, what's my persona's take on this? What's my character's take on this? I mean, that's changing now because I think the internet's making like sort of comedy from different countries mix in together.
And accessible.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them, like, they'll do their big special in an arena in front of like 10,000, but for most of their tour before that, even the work in progress, it was like rooms of like 100, 200 people tops. Yeah. And they prefer that.
Well, I mean, arenas are not, they're not great
the comedy
for
doesn't travel the same, I don't think. But I get why you would build up to that, because if you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a big spectacle.
And it
like Bill Burr did his here. He did it at Royal Albert Hall.
Right, yeah.
His last one. And the whole tour was in America, but he did his special here.
Wow. It's mad, isn't it? But it suits being on TV, that, like an arena thing. Yeah. Because actually, in a lot of ways, you're performing to the audience in the same way you're performing to a TV crowd. Because there's no way that you can, like, if you look at, like we're talking about Paul Smith, like he has done arenas and stuff. Yeah. But he has to make a point of specifically communicating with his audience.
I was going to say, because you can't, like, it's a bit different talking to the audience.
You can't go
the first row is like 400 yards away over there.
Up a circle, E23. What do you do? You can't do that. And I think like that's why they prefer doing it in at least a theatre where you can see the audience and you can see their faces.
Yeah. So has he altered his act then to do an arena versus, because what he became famous for was very intimate. Yeah. People right in front of him. Banter.
I don't know.
How does that transfer to arena?
I don't know, man. Like,
because it all came from just being shared. Yeah. His material just got shared. I remember there was a couple of weeks where all I was seeing was various clips. It was all just hilarious. And then fast forward a few months later, he's playing this like theatre or an arena. Like bloody hell.
Yeah. It's amazing. It is incredible.
You have to think, how am I going to do this in a massive venue?
Yeah. But that's the advantage of being like doing stuff where you're so talking to the audience. It's always different, isn't it? So you can have that great turnover of like nothing you're going to do is going to be the same.
Must be weird.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really have. Well, I suppose he will have prepared material, but he'll never use it.
Well, yeah, possibly.
At the smaller venues, he's always just he never knows what he hasn't got a clue what's going to come up, what he's going to talk about. That must be fairly daunting.
Well, I don't know.
Well, it's his world, I suppose. Now, isn't it?
And I guess as well, the thing is like from when I've done stuff where I've not really had a plan, it can be a lot funnier because everybody in that room knows that it's just happening there and then.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's a thing. It's like a lot of comedians will open their set by like they'll come into a room, they'll have a look at it, and they'll try and think like, oh, what joke can I make about this particular room? And then it's like, oh, this person can be funny right now. He will be funny when he's or she has thought of things beforehand. Yeah, we will be fine.
Going back to the heckling thing.
Oh yeah,
I always find some people, it's like a preconceived notion where they go, I'm going to take this guy down. When they try and say something to like, I remember once there's a clip of Joe Rogan where he's at a small club and someone's like pointing out he's got like a stain on his pants near his crotch. He's like, and he's like, what do you think I'm just gonna walk off stage now because you've pointed out a stain? He's like, this show's over. Is that the best you can do? You know what I mean? This guy, like, what were you thinking? Like, you don't know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. They do know who they're dealing with. So if it's a more experienced comedian, it could backfire severely.
Yeah, it's their job, isn't it? Like
I've loved watching those compilations of how
people love it,
how they deal with hecklers.
Yeah,
'Cause it's like Jimmy Carr's quite good as well.
Oh, he does
just
a thing.
Turn it around. And
Yeah, when he goes on tour, he does a thing where audience members can, like, at the end of the show be like, right, we're going to do best heckles. So he'll get members of the audience to queue up.
That's a good idea. That's brilliant.
People, it's
then they might, if that's coming, they're less inclined to do it during the show, and they'll just save it for the end.
But
That's
I mean,
a brilliant idea.
Generally, heckling happens like pretty rarely in most comedy clubs and like most stages.
I think these days people are more educated on it all.
Yeah, I get
like, especially with the internet and
Yeah.
podcasts. Like a lot of comedians who do podcasts, their audience is their fans. So people go for them. They know what to expect. So they've got the respect for the person. So they're not going to... Whereas back in the day, it was all potluck.
Yeah.
Who was in your audience?
Yeah, but I mean, the thing as well is, like, the UK, like, our culture is largely music hall and theatre. So it's stuff where the audience would be sitting in a theatre. It'd be like, right, I'm watching a performance. I'm not going to shout out. Or if I'm only going to shout out when I've been requested to. Like, it's not that culture. Whereas I think, like, in America, there is a lot more of, like, you know, you come into a comedy club, you have to pay a 2-drink minimum. It doesn't necessarily matter who's on. And it was like, it's like a jazz, you know, it came out of sort of like jazz clubs and that sort of thing. So a lot of the time you'd just come somewhere for the atmosphere, and then there'd happen to be an act on, and you might not like them. And then you get drunk because you've had to buy, you know, like, I think it's more, the setup is more conducive to the fact that there'd be a heckler anyway. Not that I'm an expert on it, like, I'm saying this as somebody who's not really gigged in America.
It comes with the territory, I guess.
Yeah,
yeah. And the longer you do it, you develop techniques for dealing with it, and you can do it one way or the other. You can deflect it, or you can approach it head on. Yeah,
I mean, it's different styles, isn't it? Like, you know, it'd be tricky for Michael McIntyre to, like, be mean to a heckler, because that's,
you
like,
just couldn't imagine it.
It's really,
especially
really
with the accent,
unsettling.
it wouldn't come off, would it?
Yeah. Like, what can he do? But he did used to. Like, before he, one of the big changes was he used to be a lot more sarcastic. Like, when he was doing the circuit,
right?
And being, like, a bit like,
because he was struggling for a long time, wasn't he?
Well, like, I think he was doing all right, but he wasn't, like, where he is now.
I think he almost got to the point where he needed to get a job.
Yeah. It happens. It happens, though, man. Like, yeah.
But I can't imagine him being sarcastic.
I know, yeah, exactly, right? Like, it doesn't feel right, does it?
Yeah.
And
then when I saw early clips of Peter Kay, he was exactly the same as he was when he got massive. He just had, that was just his. He was just born with that.
Yeah, some people just come out like.
I just remember in one of his in the comedy club talking about, like, when, you know, the surround sound first came in, and you had the speakers all around you, and he goes, your girlfriend's going, what's the point? What's it going to make a difference? We're watching Coronation Street. He's like, wait a minute, surround sound. Do you want an op? It's just like he was from the beginning. He already had that.
Sure.
And he's polished it obviously slightly, but some people are completely different when they get more successful from when they started, and other people just start like that. It's weird.
Yeah.
Difference of how people get into comedy in the first place. So would you call yourself a student of the game? Do you pay attention? Do you?
Yeah. I mean,
do you watch a lot of comedy? Do you go to comedy shows?
I love comedy. Like, the reason I perform comedy is because I love watching it, and it's something like I really wanted to be in that world, and I really wanted to make stuff because I loved it. You know, like, that's my big influence. Like, you know, if I look back at my favorite films and favorite stuff to watch and favorite things to listen to, it's all funny. There's a sense of humor to it. Like, even if it's quite sad things, it knows, you know, there's a sort of an awareness to it, and I suppose an irony. Like, because I've been getting into horror films a lot more recently, because for a long time I was too scared to watch them. But now, now I'm a brave boy. But I like how there is something, once you get past the initial shock of the gore in that, the timing's very similar to comedy. Like, there is something really similar in, like, getting
timing is key.
That break of the shock or something. Yeah. And also how ridiculous it is, but it's ridiculous rather than ridiculous to the point that it scares, that it makes you laugh. It's so ridiculous that you're meant to be like, I'm so scared now that the rules of reality don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Which is just great. Like,
a lot of my favourite films are comedy films.
Yeah.
Just the way I am. As it's the same for you.
Yeah.
Like Hot Shots or
Right, yeah.
Naked Gun or...
Oh, man, Naked Gun's so good.
Did you ever see the original, what it came from? Police Squad.
Yeah.
They only ever made one series. Oh, it was hilarious.
It's too. The feedback was that it was too funny. It was like too smart for.
I think
viewers.
it was too straight and down the middle.
Yeah.
But like,
it's great.
The
so
films
good.
that came from it.
So
are
funny. The Zucker brothers, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Are those guys. Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
Like,
that and then and Blazing Saddles and Mel Brooks stuff.
Yeah, it's like really obvious.
So good.
But it's still
so
like,
good.
It's just the writing of it.
Yeah.
And then when you get people like Leslie Nielsen,
who
fell into comedy completely by accident.
It's great, isn't it?
Trying to give him like serious lines and the way he delivers it, people just rolling around laughing. It's like, what? Why is everyone laughing?
I miss that type of comedy, like that visual comedy. You know, because that's the thing with Mel Brooks and with Zucker Brothers and with a lot of sort of comedies, like the older comedies. There was so many visual jokes, like the fact that they just walk around when they're going through the police station and they just walk around this fake wall, and it's like and in Airplane there's all these, like every frame there is some sort of visual gag in there as well.
Constant.
That's like it's not like the like it's not a real world. It's a joke world, and I don't know.
You're constantly getting hit over the head with joke after joke. Some of them you can't keep up. You'd have to, if you watch it again, they'll be, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. And it just doesn't.
They don't really do. You're right. They don't really do.
I think
stuff like that
it's
anymore.
changed to being a bit more realistic, and that's great as well. Like, but it's, I don't know. I feel like something's lost a bit. I do miss. I want that to come back, like really bad, really bad.
Silly things like, she said she wanted to meet me at the club right away. Since I didn't know where the club right away was, I suggested the club.
It's like a jokey, very stupid jokey.
It helps with the flat delivery as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the other side where you can like over deliver it, which is funny. It can be funny as well, but it's just like.
Yeah. I think like the big change is like improv coming into it, and improv's great. Like I really like improv as a genre, but that's sort of the Saturday Night Live area of like guys doing scenes where they'll just like Anchorman was so improvised, like every scene wasn't, I think they knew the gist of it, but then they just completely improvised it, and
like
so then edited it.
The delivery of something is hilarious without laughing is
so good.
Like I think it was in Naked Gun where all the animals escaped from the zoo because he drove a tank through one of the walls because he couldn't drive a tank. But then he was talking to the town mayor or something, going, do you realise because of you this town is being overrun by baboons? And he just went, isn't it the fault of the voters? Just without...
It's great.
Brilliant.
Great.
But yeah, I think we're in a different place now, comedy-wise. Plus, with the internet and all the streaming services, there isn't one central place to go anymore. Everything's... I mean, you've got to have Amazon, you've got to have Netflix, like Hulu Plus in America... Now TV for Sky, everything's spread out all over the place.
And that's great because it means people have. Well, is it great? I don't know.
you can have too much choice.
It's
like what you were saying about you've total freedom to write comedy about whatever you want, but some people would pick a theme because otherwise, I don't know where to start or end.
I think this is like one of the ways that comedy on TV is struggling a little bit at the moment and not that I mean
apart from the fact that no one's watching TV anyway.
Well, but I mean there's some, and I'm saying that as if like there's an issue, and there isn't, because like you look at Fleabag and it was absolutely incredible. Like some truly incredible TV's been made at the moment, but I think with sitcoms there was a thing like it's sort of on a schedule you had to fill time.
It got a bit formulaic.
But there was like there's something about that idea of, right, we've got this time, we've got this space, and we can do what we want in that time. It just has to be kind of funny, and we have to work on, I don't know, I wonder like how much stuff wouldn't get made now because there's not just somebody willing to go like, oh well, we've got half an hour, do you want it?
Or because it's been done. I think we're hankering after different now, aren't we? But as time goes on, it's the same in music. It's so hard to do something that cannot be compared to something that hasn't been done before. To be unique, which is like Fleabag. It's things like that stand out and they get picked up. That's what everyone's aspiring. But it's so hard to do something that is truly unique. Come up with a new music genre. How hard's that going to be?
Just call it.
Will there ever be another grunge coming through that just wipes the floor?
I mean, I guess Grime's probably the last big genre.
Yeah, true.
I'm saying that, but I have little to. Don't get me wrong. I like music. I like listening to music, but I don't know. I go in and out of waves of like being really into music and like being like into music in the way that like following like, oh, who's hot now? Okay.
Yeah.
And just
I think as you get older, you tend to generally keep up with what's going on less.
Right. Yeah.
And you'll go back to your old faithful collection. But the things like Spotify help.
Yes.
I usually the recommended and
the Discover thing's been really great. Like I found so many great artists this year because of that. There's a guy called Richard Dawson who's from the Northeast, who's just so at the same time he's hilarious and also like really sad and really heartfelt.
Hilarious but sad.
Yeah, no, there's something like really.
What does he do?
Tragically funny. He's like a one man. So he has a guitar, he has a drum machine, and he has like on his phone he has an app. Where he writes music and that, but he also does these songs like sort of kitchen sink drama-y songs, I guess. It's a bit like I was talking to a friend about it with a comparison that would have been great to have used now, but I can't remember it, so that's gone forever. Sorry, Mark.
Well, we can put it in the show notes if you
perfect. All right.
Afterwards.
Yeah,
you can let me
me look smart. Great. But he's great. He's got like a song. It's like a 7-minute song about jogging because his doctors said he's got like a heart. Like his heart's not as good as it should be, so he's been given beta blockers. But at the same time as he's talking about that, he's actually like using it as sort of a way to talk about mental health and struggling with anxiety, and also then about how his neighbours next door have had a brick through the window and the police. It's just like I can just explain it to you, but it's amazing. Yeah. It's really good.
But humour is so versatile in so many different situations. Like how many times? Obviously, you've been to many funerals, but you always end up laughing at a funeral because you remember good times, or the person has, if they know they were going to go, they've specifically said, "I want colours, I want laughters, I want stories," things like that. And it can just, or any situation you have, if someone cracks a joke, whatever the situation is, it can just turn the whole atmosphere. Yeah, exactly. Well, you need it. We are the only species on the planet capable of laughter.
Yeah, it's the release.
So we should be doing more of it.
Yeah, the release of tension, innit? Like it's what makes you feel safe a bit, I think.
Like as a comedian, you're always trying to look for the funny in something.
Yeah.
It's like I must find funny in this.
Yeah, it's difficult not to.
But you see comedians getting slaughtered because they found funny in something that's not supposed to be funny. But like that's my job. That's what I do.
Yeah.
It's just you can't help it, can you?
No.
Not if you've been doing it for a long time as well.
Yeah, and it's like that's your
job.
Clicked onto it.
And it's like people at shows getting offended of stuff that. Supposedly, like someone I can't remember who it was. Someone was in the news because they made a rape joke,
right?
But not about anybody, not at someone, but someone in the audience got offended, and then they wrote a blog about it, and then it all kicked off. But it's like it's free reign when you go into a comedy club, because she might have been raped, so that she might not find that funny. But you can't plan for that.
I think there's a couple of things with this, like because I sort of. I get where that sort of comes from, that you should be able to speak about anything on stage, and you can really.
Someone could have just died in your family, and they might be talking about a funeral. Yeah, it might upset you.
Yeah, and you can, but I think you can talk about that, like, but also the other person can be offended. I think that's the thing. That's what there is an exchange. Like you can say something, and then somebody can be like, "I don't agree with that," or because you're in a public space.
Exactly.
But I think the way that the news operates a lot is making this into such much more of an issue than it needs to.
Yeah.
Because like,
well, they just need headlines, don't they?
Yeah. So somebody does a rape joke, and then a member of the audience goes like, "I don't think you should do a rape joke," and they can have like a human conversation about that and be like, "Well, I think I should." Well, actually, if you think about it this way, oh no, actually, maybe you're right. But also, can you? And then they've come to an agreement. There's some sort of exchange. Whereas if it's like there's a blog post and then the news is going, "Can you believe this guy? Done this joke?" It's like, well, you've changed you've changed both people there from being humans.
It's taken out of context.
Yeah, you've made, and also it's a thing about like I've been thinking about, like, we talk about life in stories most of the time. And
Instagram stories.
But it's like but humans don't. Well, you die, and that's the end of your story, right? And then you can look back because you've got the story. You've got the born, you've got the middle living bit, you've got the end, you've got the death. And at that point, somebody ceases to change anymore. But when you're alive, you can change your mind. You can change what you decide to do. So if you say a joke and then somebody goes, "I think that's offensive," and that you can then change your mind and go, "You know what? Actually, I agree. I think that was offensive." Or you can
go, be offended.
Yeah,
it's okay to be offended.
Yeah, and you can go, actually, no, I don't agree with that. But you can change. Whereas the way that those stories are framed is they're turned into a story.
Yeah, it's almost like, what do they expect the
comedian
comedian to go? Oh, I've offended someone, right? I'll better stop the show now.
Well, yeah. Well, because it's happened, hasn't it? The thing's happened, and you can't change what's happened. I don't know. But I generally, I mean, it's my style of comedy as well. Like, I try and always make the jokes about me.
You don't go too deep into...
Yeah, like, not like I'm a narcissist, but, well, I'm a bit, because look at me, I'm a comedian.
You don't like riling people up like Frankie Boyle or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's not my style. So I think from my point of view, it's a bit like, well, yeah, I don't want to offend people. I'm not going to offend someone. But
you're jovial.
Yeah, like I'm not going to write a song offending somebody, but then I mean,
you still could accidentally offend someone without even trying.
I have songs which like I think they're a joke, but then I've seen people in the audience vividly. Like there's one called "Old Man with a Puppy," and it's meant to be like fun at the start, and then it's actually like, well, if you think about that, and I get maybe it's the framing of it that I need to make it more clear that it's like I can't have nice things in my head because I don't like myself, because all I'm thinking about with that "Old Man with the Puppy" is actually that's really selfish of the old man
because he's going to die.
Who's going to look after the puppy, right? But when I've performed that, sometimes you do see an old person in the audience looking really offended. It's like, well, mate, that's on you. You shouldn't be getting a puppy. Like you should know this. Like, or it's like I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a minefield. There's no right or wrong answer.
No,
and it's always in the headlines. It's always up for debate.
But I try. I don't know. Like I always try and come at it from the point of view that if somebody is offended, well, is there like a reason for that? Like, is that
on them or is it on you? Or?
Yeah, and try and. I mean, a lot of the time, I'll like my default setting is that I'm in the wrong anyway. So,
but if you were in a room of 200 people and you offended one person,
yeah, it's different. But then I mean, I don't know.
The answer is I don't know.
No, who knows?
But it's like I say, it's part of the territory.
And it's an exchange.
But like, it is. You're not going out of your way to try and offend people.
No, I'm not.
So no, I suppose some people do, but for the most part, I don't think most comedians are trying to offend people.
No, I don't.
They may. I think they have material or approaching subjects where they know it's a bit contentious.
Yeah, I mean, there are some comedians that are deliberately creating there is this thing that there's this sort of like Lenny Bruce is like sort of one of the first stand-up comedians for saying things that like, hey, he's breaking the barriers, and Bill Hicks and that.
Oh yeah.
And they're great, but like I don't know, it's not exactly the I don't think it's exactly the same thing. Like when Bill Hicks is talking when Lenny Bruce is like talking about like he has a story about Masked Man, which is like the Lone Ranger. And then in the story, it turns out that the Lone Ranger is gay, and so all of the townspeople hate him. And the point of that is that he's actually trying to make the world a more progressive place and a more accepting place. Whereas, like, I don't know, you just got to see, like, are you punching down? Are you encouraging? Are you, like, open, like, trying to bring in a new point of view? Or are you just, like...
but using comedy to sort of raise awareness on an issue, I guess.
I think that's the thing. It's like, what's the point?
Just giving it a different perspective.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like you can like you can talk about anything you want on stage, and so if you're going to talk about something that you know is going to upset people, or is
like
going to,
if you start doing like not religion, politics now, it's like
yeah, or like maybe there's just have a point to it, like really believe in it.
Because some comedians base their whole thing on what's going on now.
Yeah,
so that obviously how many.
I feel bad for those guys. Rewrites every day. Like, what's happened now? Oh, God.
Yeah, it's just... You put pressure on yourself then, don't you? I suppose, to keep up with... But some comedians are just prolific. They just seem to come up with stuff all the time. Whereas other people, like, will do it for a block, build up for an hour, and then they'll... Have you ever had to do that? Like, purge a whole load of material and I've got to start fresh now.
Like,
can't do any of that now.
Most of the stuff from my first show, the stuff in my first show was really... It was called Theme Show, and it was me making the world's greatest theme park live on stage in under an hour. And it was like... So all of that stuff... I deliberately wanted to make a show where everything was specific to that show. So, like, I had props where... It wasn't really musical comedy. It was like... I had a prop where it was like a webcam on a stick, and I made like a little track out of straws and cocktail sticks, and that got projected on the screen, so it looked like a roller coaster ride. So that was like something for them to enjoy if they wanted.
You just reminded me, on a camera on a stick, I saw an advert. I don't know if it was real or not. For it was called a birthie. It was like a selfie stick for a woman having a child.
Oh God.
A birthie.
Oh, nobody needs that. Just hire a cam. Stop taking cameramen's jobs off them. Right? They've been through so much. Hire a cameraman.
Oh, I don't know. Some of the stuff that people think of these days.
Yeah.
Is good and bad.
Yeah,
but that's comedy though, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
It's what comes out of people's mind, and the endless possibilities now of ways to get it out that never existed before. Like otherwise, you had to write back in the day. You had to write it down to try and tell someone. No, now you could just like you've done, create a video on your phone.
Yeah, just do a little video.
How long do you think that one took you about the egg?
Oh, a couple of hours, I think.
A couple of hours?
Yeah. Which, if you consider, like, back in the day...
When you consider the quality of that for a couple of hours' work...
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I'll take that.
Because it had, you had effects on it as well.
Oh, yeah.
Slow motion.
Yeah, it's mad. I can't... It's insane how easy it is to do stuff like that nowadays.
So you can just flesh ideas out in no time.
Yeah.
Quite privileged,
but
really.
Also, but also I think it's so much more of a focus on editing yourself and having a keen eye on what you should and shouldn't do. You know what I mean? Because it's so easy for you just to...
You can just put anything out.
Yeah, if you've just got an open... This is why I think a lot of comedians are get in trouble at the moment, because they're so focused on the fact that you can say anything and you can do anything, that they're not thinking, well, should I?
Yeah.
Should I? Hang on. Maybe that's gonna. If that's gonna upset, maybe it should upset people. But if what's the point of that? I don't know. But because you're so focused on right, I've got to do 10 tweets today. Got to get my zingers out, baby. Got to go to market with the old zinger towers. And then by that point, you're so moving on to the next thing that you don't really realise that actually maybe you need to edit
some you don't want to put everything out all the time. You could save it for part of your act.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say about the connection with music again, is trying to tell people that you can watch comedy online or a band or whatever, but go and see it live.
Oh yeah.
If you thought it was funny,
it's way
watching it on YouTube or the DVD. Imagine what it's like in a room full of 300 people.
This is the thing I'm trying to do more now. It's stuff that's specific. Like my new show is called Edy Hurst's comedy version of Jeff Wayne's musical version of H.G. Wells' literary version (brackets via Orson Welles' radio version of The War of the Worlds). Yeah. And it's but the point is me making this. I think from this show that I'm doing now, Hurst Schmurst, and from Theme Show, what I want this in between, I just want to be able to muck around on stage. I love that, and I love being able to muck around and communicate with the audience, and it be they have an input too, not necessarily in heckling, but in actions and what they want to...
Interactions.
Yeah, exactly, and it's so good seeing that live and seeing something where everybody in the... I did in October, I did a gig at XS Malarkey in Manchester, which is one of the best gigs in the country. And I jokingly said I was going to do the Monster Mash for 20 minutes, and then they said, you've got to do this now. And I ended up... I'd sent over the Monster Mash file, and I saw how long the audience would put up with me just dancing the Monster Mash. And it was so... stupid, but it was so fun because it's that's never going to happen,
and that stuck around.
Definitely not going to happen again. They liked it. It was all right. And then I did a bit of material after that because they earned it.
They rewarded them.
They earned that
for their perseverance.
Well, I mean, I say that's a gift. I don't know, but it's just I love that. And it's happening. I think that's the next thing, is deliberately doing things that are in the moment. That even if it's the same thing you're trying to do over and over again, it's always going to be different each time you do it live. And that is amazing. I think that gives you the edge on it. That's what makes comedy and what makes live performance so immediate. And so I saw just seeing a band perform a song live that you've heard them perform hundreds of times, it's just awesome. It's amazing.
There's no way to replicate that.
No.
This is what I was worried about. People, will they still go and see it live?
Yeah.
Rather than just consuming everything digitally, which everyone seems to do these days. I hope people continue, because if they don't, then the comedian's not going to do it in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I wonder, I think it's just different, isn't it?
The younger generation, they only consume things digitally on demand. They're not. I don't know if they're, because we all remember.
Yeah, but then
you could only go and see it live.
Yeah, but then it's it's a different way. So like you go to a festival and there are YouTubers there who are meeting people in
Yeah.
person, and you go along, and it's just a different way to interact, I suppose.
These YouTubers.
It's
so many coming out the woodwork, and
crazy,
they've got like
innit? Yeah.
80 million followers. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
It's a different world, isn't it?
I know, man. I know.
I just like I've seen these podcasts that I listen to, and they have a YouTuber on it. Never heard of that person. Never heard of her.
Yeah, but that's like
Not that it's a bad thing. That's
No,
just
sure,
me. I'm
yeah.
old. I'm out of sync. I'm out of touch.
I joined TikTok last week, and
I keep hearing about this
I'm
TikTok.
gonna leave TikTok this week.
Is it anything like Snapchat?
Kinda, yeah. I just
Not that
can't,
I've ever been on Snapchat.
I
but
can't figure it out. I don't know what it is. I don't like. I think it's the first thing that I've got.
You're just like, I do not need to be on here.
Yeah, I feel so old on it. Like I can't be like, who am I following? What's
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like,
like-
nah, I'm done.
I'm
I'm done. This is it. This is
Instagram, Facebook, which is linked.
Yeah.
So I put stuff on Instagram. It goes to
Yeah,
it goes to Facebook and Twitter. Which that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it anymore.
yeah, man. But that's
Unless everyone's leaving one of them and going to another,
yeah, and
I
then
might
you gotta
follow.
figure it
But
out. But I can't.
I'm still getting interaction on all of them.
Yeah.
It's going fine, so I'm just going to stick with them.
Yeah,
They're the
yeah,
three
yeah.
main ones.
I can't.
Most people these days just link them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. They work. Don't change
every
it.
other week there's some other thing coming out. Like, nah, not going to bother.
Yeah, I remember there was one which was like a Facebook. It was like Facebook, only it was meant to be cooler. That was like the PR that came out. It was invitation only. And then it just never. There was so many. Do you remember? There was like 2-3 years where there were loads of those that kept happening.
Yeah, I joined one called Vero.
Vero.
That was like it was kind of like Instagram. Yeah, it was pretty much exactly the same as Instagram.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I need to look it up. But they said the first 1 million users will be free.
Yeah.
After 1 million, everyone will have to pay. And I'm like, I can't see that working.
Yeah, it's just
When you've got Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter.
But they don't. It's the money in it.
don't
Like, how do you
understand.
make money? Like, I don't think it's adverts in it. I don't think Twitter make money, do they? Or they're owned by somebody else.
Yeah,
and
because you
then,
get promoted tweets.
Yeah.
And you get adverts down the side.
But
so
that's
that's
not,
how they
you
make
can't
money.
make a whole business out. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe you can.
Yeah, with 100 million users, you can.
Yeah, I guess
Or
so.
people pay to promote their tweets.
Yeah.
So, and people buy shares in the company and
Yeah,
part
sure.
own it and pump money into it.
That's
so.
the thing, it is.
But it's a different world. Something
Yeah.
we don't know much about. We use it and we just go, okay, whatever.
If somebody likes this, oh please.
Which one do you get the most usage out of?
I don't know. Different things for different parts. Like I find Facebook's quite good for. I mean, on my personal Facebook account, I use that a lot more to directly contact people for gigs and things.
Right.
Like
Not
from
your actual comedian profile.
No.
Okay.
I have people contact me for like private bookings through my Facebook page.
Right.
But generally, I'll because there's forums where people are after like acts that they'll put calls up on there, like Facebook groups, that sort of stuff. And then Twitter's quite good for just putting out jokes and single line things. And
Yeah, you've got to be
pictures.
concise with that, haven't you?
And then Instagram's a bit more like I can.
It's a visual side of things.
Yeah. And actually, what's funny is I've probably had more from Instagram. Like,
Yeah, me too. Now.
yeah, it's great, but I don't know. Like, when I joined it, I was just thinking it's just going to be another thing to do.
Yeah.
It's another platform. But actually, I like it as
I
well.
think the hashtags are the key.
Yeah,
Someone explained to me that
yeah,
the accurate hashtags with what the subject matter and
Yeah.
things that are linked to it makes it likely to show up in searches and stuff. And
Yeah.
Get more interaction. So
I keep trying to put myself as a hashtag lifestyle blogger. It's one of my favorite things of Instagram at the moment is seeing those people set up like bots to like particular
yeah.
things, and it's like I'll put a picture of me looking really looking ill, and then going like, oh god, life's so hard. Can we just stop? Hashtag lifestyle blogger, and then it's like Julie Yoga 92 is liking it. Like, you don't want to like this. Got you. That'll teach you to be friendly. Now who's had the last laugh? Me, who's miserable. That'll teach you to
you do
talk.
get a lot of bots.
Yeah.
I noticed someone will post something up within seconds. Someone's commenting on it about. Like I remember, I put a podcast that was 3 hours long, and then the next post was like, "Great podcast" or something like. Really, you listened to it already? It's just gone up like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, but you can do that 1.5 listen now, can't you?
Not
That's
3
what it
hours.
is.
Yeah, I only discovered that about last year about
Right,
listening
yeah.
to things faster.
Yeah.
I thought, will you be able to take the information in as quickly? But
I don't know.
you get used to it. I do 1.3.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on the podcast because sometimes people talk quite fast anyway.
Yeah.
So if you speak about too much,
I mean,
what's he saying?
Hardcore history, you could do 1.3, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I love Dan. His stuff's great. Oh, I say I love him. I don't know him. He might be a monster, but I love it. I love his work. But he loves a pause, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Loves
speed
a
all that
pause.
shit up. Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's an algorithm that could edit all them pauses out, it would probably take an hour off.
Yeah.
Because some of the episodes are like 5.5 hours long, 6 hours long.
I love that. I love
You can
it.
only consume it in chunks. No one anymore in this day and age has 6 hours spare to just.
No, I mean, I tell you, I've done a gig. I've done a gig to Brighton and back from Manchester, and I've hammered through.
Driving is probably the only space left now for human beings where they can do one thing for a certain amount of time. Like when you're at home, I don't think you're ever just doing one thing anymore.
Yeah,
like no one puts on an album and just listens to the album anymore, do they?
Yeah.
Well, they do, but it's very small compared to what it used to be.
And that's the thing, you have to go out of your way to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like you've got a record player, you put the record on, and that's what you're doing.
Press play and just listen to it. That doesn't happen anymore because we've got so much.
Yeah.
Like we've got a phone that's buzzing and you're thinking about this, you're thinking about that.
Yeah, it's just there is
life's
so
100 miles an
much
hour
to
now.
consume.
Like that's I always wonder about comedians being disciplined to like turn everything off and like, I need to come up with some ideas. I need to sort my ideas out. I need to write some material.
I really struggle with that. I really like, because as well, like you sit down and go, right, this is the time I'm going to do that, and then it builds up, and it's.
But is it also a thing of sometimes you can't force it?
Exactly. Yeah. So you can't, even though you've been like, right, now we're going to sit down and we're going to do this, and it's like, well, no, I'm not.
It's like as a musician, you can't force yourself to come up with some ideas. You either have them or you don't. Yeah. You can try and get yourself in a routine, but there's no, you can't.
But I guess it's like, it's creativity in general, isn't it? Like you figure out tools and it's like a muscle. So the more that you work out in it, the better you need to be able to get into that.
If you feel something happening, you need to be able to just act on it.
Yeah.
Get a recorder out or
get a
pen and pad out and start writing. Is that happens to you sometimes?
Yeah, a lot.
I need to work on this right now.
Yeah, but also I think this is one of the things is like because a lot of the stuff that I do, it's like doing a thing, like. And that's sort of what, at the moment, is interesting me more, is doing a thing, like being a thing in that moment, like a bit, rather than being like, right, it's got to be this story that has this and that. It's like,
it's just like maybe working on an idea, developing it. So has the way you work on stuff changed over the years? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's just because I do different styles and different formats of stuff as well, like it's one of the things that I really love about musical comedy and doing and writing music in general is that you can't do that, you know what I mean, like you can't just like, whereas with stand-up you can, and a lot of people work best when it's like they have like maybe 3 sentences and they know that they've got 2 or 3 jokes that they've got the idea of, but they don't necessarily know how to say that out loud.
Yeah.
And then you go on stage and you go like, hey, what's the deal with this? They're blah, 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 blah. And then you figure out, oh, right, that's how that works. Whereas with music, you have to have written it beforehand.
Yeah,
true. You can't just be like, I'm probably going to do it around A minor and I'm going to hope that I can think of a rhyme at this point. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's like Whose Lines Anyway kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is like, I used to love that program.
Oh, that's great, isn't it?
I watched I prefer the British ones.
Right, okay.
The last sort of 5 series before they went to America. Gold. Yeah. I mean, I like the American ones as well.
Sure, yeah.
It just does.
With Clive.
No, it was it?
Oh, did he pass the reins over at this point?
Yeah, no, it was Clive. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But with like Josie Lawrence, Mike McShane, Tony Slattery, obviously Ryan Stiles and Carl Mockery. Yeah, they go without saying. But just
yeah.
How do they? Some of the stuff they come out with, you just think how just like.
But that's it. It's like, especially with the improv stuff, it's the muscles, building up those improv muscles, so that you trust yourself that you can do something funny, you can
deliver something.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. I always wonder what the edits would be like.
Yeah, heavy.
Obviously some
heavy
moments. There's got to be times in that where it just goes flat and it's like, that wasn't funny at all.
Yeah.
Fast forward 5 minutes, everyone's rolling on the floor laughing.
I just like, I remember that Robin Williams did one of those. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think so.
Where he just gets the whole audience to start clapping and he pretends he's an airplane. And it's like, I mean, come on, there's no, like, I don't even think the bit that they were meant to be doing was about that. And he just decided and it's Robin Williams, so it's amazing. But it's just like, could you imagine being the editor for that, going like, what? Where do I cut this?
Yeah, it'd be a nightmare. Do you think you'll ever go back to like setting yourself a challenge of I'm going to do a special or a half an hour of without music?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this new, I like the way I think about it and the way I try to think about all of it is like doing comedy with music in. It's like I just don't. Why bother limiting yourself by being? I mean, like when I'm doing 10 minutes, I'll probably choose like I'll either use my loop pedal or my guitar or something like that because 10 minutes isn't really that long. I know before I was saying, oh my god, 10 minutes is so long, but for an audience.
Well, when you're used to doing longer, you sort of
like
it back down.
10 minutes for an audience, you come on stage and go, hey, I'm going to do an impression, now I'm going to do an observation, and now I'm going to do... That doesn't... It's so many styles and so much different gear changing for an audience to experience all at once. Like, now, if you're doing an hour, you can do that. Or if you're doing longer, but you can't... Like, you've only got 10 minutes. Pick a gear, mate. Like,
more self-discipline to say, how can I make this the best 10 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but
don't
also...
bombard, like you're saying, don't bombard them with too many different things.
You also, you've got 10 minutes to communicate something to that audience. So if it musical comedian who's disappointed at being a musical comedian, got it, fine, good, that all fits in there. Or like, oh, what's this guy's deal? Oh, he's the happy guy who juggles, perfect. But then you've got to be the, you know what I mean, like, because if you're, oh well, that guy was good, he juggled for a bit and then he did some really good impressions and then he sang and then he talked about Iran, right? But what?
Very disparate.
What was he? You know?
Yeah. What did he do?
Yeah. It's like...
So have you done Edinburgh Fringe?
Yeah. This was my debut full run this year.
2019?
Yeah.
How long did you do?
I did the full month. So,
wow.
Well, I mean, that's the standard.
I suppose it is.
Like, you take a day off, or you don't have to, but I did, because my venue was closed, so I couldn't have done it. I wanted to, like, if I turned up, the doors would have been locked.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which is fine. Because I did like having the day off because it's so intense. Like, you know, even though really it's just like an hour of the day, it's not really, because it's like 2 hours beforehand you flyer in, and then afterwards you flyer in and you're doing spots to get people to come to your show and everything.
So are you hoping for people to just wander in? Or do they have to choose to buy tickets to see you?
It's a bit, but so the venue I was at, it changes at each venue or organisation you go with. So where I was at, you could buy a ticket in advance or you could pay what you want. So it was a bit of both. So I'd be going around getting people to either pre-book a ticket or turn up on the day at the time. And yeah, it's just different things. It's different way. It depends on what sort of who you have, like what backing you have. Like I didn't go with PR or a publicist.
Did you just do it all yourself?
Yeah.
Right, that's cheaper.
Well, yeah.
Because I've
cheaper
always
in
had
the
this
money, not in
perception
the mind.
I've always had this perception that doing the Fringe costs money.
Oh god, yeah. No, that's not that is a correct perception.
Which
it's
puts extra
so
pressure
expensive. On it. Yeah. And it's like you've just got to sort of make peace with the fact that you're probably not going to make that money back.
Yeah.
Unless you're on, like, there's this thing called the free fringe where you pay a very small amount of money just for admin for the organisation,
right,
and then anything that you make is yours. With that, you can most of the time come away with either breaking even or making a profit.
Right.
But for the most part, it's a trade show.
So what was your strategy for it then? Before going into it?
Well, I think there was a couple of things. The first thing was that I've not, like, you know, on the national scale, like I'm a Manchester-based musical comedian. Like, I don't have, you know, I've not had TV appearances. I've been on radio a little bit, but not like, hey, this guy's got his whole show. You got, you know, it's not like there's not. So it's sort of profile raising, I guess, and getting reviews from publications that I can then go
use
put on posters and things. So yeah, it was kind of So that was the goal.
Step in the whole process, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like there's this sort of thing that it's like you go up and you'll get a TV show, and it's like, well, it doesn't really work like that anymore.
Usually the people that happens to have done it 14 years in a row.
Yeah.
And nearly bankrupt themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, they're veterans of the circuit,
exactly,
or they're these people who have probably already been on TV a bunch anyway, and this is like a bit of a like. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but you know, they've got a lot going on before they've just come to the Fringe. It's not like all of a sudden everyone's gone, whoa, where'd this guy come from? It's like, well, no, I think most of the industry were pretty aware of them already.
They've just heard of them.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when a band breaks, they've had 4 albums before, but like, this debut album.
Yeah,
like, no.
Yeah, it's like, they've been around for a while, guys.
It's all about reference, because you've been doing it 6 years compared to some people. that's no time at all. Some people say, oh, you've got to be doing at least 10 years.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, innit? Like,
everyone's different.
Steve Martin, I think, said he was a stand-up for 18 years. For 10 of them, he was terrible. Then 4 of them he was honing, and then the last 4 were like insanely successful. And then he just hated it by the end and stopped doing it.
Did acting.
Yeah.
It's funny that some actors started in comedy only for a short time, then went to acting, and they've never gone back.
Yeah. It's
I think it was who it was the other day who's going back to it after a long time. I've forgotten now. It's going to annoy me. Someone's finally gone back to doing comedy after like 30 years of not doing it. I can't remember who it was. I've been watching that Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Oh,
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Really
I've watched. I kind of with that stuff. I watch the acts that I want to watch. Like,
well, you pick and choose. You read the description and you go, oh,
yeah, like, oh, watch that guy.
Will Ferrell or something.
Yeah, like Zach Galifianakis. I love. He's
he's got a show as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, Baskets is great.
No,
right.
He's got like a chat show.
Oh, Between Two Ferns.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But is that? I've struggled to work out. Is that scripted?
Yeah. Well, the film is great because they've got all of this like deleted footage at the end, which is really nice because it shows them just laughing at the jokes.
I saw the one with Jerry Seinfeld on it. It's hilarious.
So good.
He seemed to make it. His thing is like awkwardness.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that. I love his
constant awkwardness.
So there are two things that really inspired me to start doing comedy. One is Steve Martin, Born Standing Up, and Wild and Crazy Guy in that, and the other one is Zach Galifianakis live at the Purple Onion.
I've not seen that.
It's it was tricky to track down originally,
so
but
it's not on any streaming platform.
It might be now. This was back when.
What's it called?
Live at the Purple Onion. It's his stand-up show. Like, he only did the hour, and then it was before The Hangover.
See, I didn't even know he did stand-up. I
Yeah.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, he was like, so he'd come out.
Seems to be a lot of actors, comedic actors, all started in stand-up.
He was amazing. He'd have a grand piano and he'd just play that, like, and he's really talented musician, like, and just sort of jazz piano whilst he was doing these one-liners, and they're really deadpan one-liners, and yeah, it's amazing, so good.
Yeah, that going back to that awkwardness, it's like you're feeling sorry for 1 minute, you're feeling sorry for the guest, and the next minute you're like, I can't believe it. Say something. You're like, you just leave a pause.
It's great. It's so good.
So there's one with Jerry Seinfeld where he's like ignoring Jerry Seinfeld and talking to his assistant or someone like that. And
when Cardi B's on,
just going, what are we? I thought we were recording here. Are we doing a show here or what?
It's great. I love it.
But that's the show. Like some people, that would be like an outtake.
Yeah.
They'd be like, we need to cut now, and he's like, no, this is the show.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But that's very different. You don't get a lot of that sort of, not in the mainstream. No one's become massively famous from that kind of.
I guess
not that I know of.
Well, it's meant. I mean, it plays on that line, doesn't it? It's like that vagueness is. You know, if you just watched it and you weren't like aware that it was comedy, you could just be like, "Woof, this interview is not going well. They should fire this guy.
Why are they still hitting the record button? Why don't they stop?
P.U. What a terrible interviewer. Fire this guy." Ooh. But
it's a very different thing to sort of stomach, isn't it? If you're not used to it, you're like. But now that I've accustomed to it, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's good. But also, it is just like this really inept guy who's insulting some of the world's biggest celebrities. Like,
who else gets to do that?
Yeah. But then you've got to, I don't know. I think a lot of it as well, though, you have to be aware of like the talk show format, because it is sort of that. It's like what alternative comedy is like, or the alternative of alternative rock was. People had to know rock in order to
to appreciate the alternative.
To be like, oh right, I get why they're doing it. And like alternative comedy is like, oh right, well I get why this is a different type of comedy. And like it's an alternative talk show in it. So it's like whereas normally you get the talk show host going like, oh, what a great guest, what do you do, you're so talented. Oh, but there it's like, you asshole.
Yeah. The only TV show that I really like, chat show that I like, is probably Graham Norton.
Oh yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Like, that's just funny. I'm laughing all the time at that. I'm getting a bit bored of the other, like Jonathan Ross is all right, but that kind of traditional panel style,
it's getting a bit old, isn't it?
It's getting a bit, yeah.
Where do you go from that? Because it's just advertising now.
I don't know if it's because of like things like YouTube and podcasts where you get much more open.
Yeah, I think
open-ended conversation where you're gonna get more from them than you're gonna get 15-10 minutes on a chat show.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
they're going to push their book or their
Yeah, I think so.
special or whatever, and then tell a funny story, and then that's it, done. Like, they do that all day. Then they go on like the radio, get an interview. Then they do an interview for like a website or a magazine where they get asked all the same questions. And it's just like, that must get pretty tedious now.
Yeah, I think so.
They must look forward to things like podcasts or YouTube channels. I think it must be so.
Yeah, have a real chat.
Yeah. Like, well, one of these days,
digging deep.
They're going to like not do any of the other stuff anymore and only do that, because if it's good and it's like a popular YouTube channel or a podcast, then it's going to get much more reach.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a better connection in it. Like with
it's the more real them.
Yeah,
they get more time to talk about things and go deep into things, and if they go 10 minutes over, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think they must really relish stuff like that.
I think so.
I think the fans do as well.
Yeah, I mean, you hope so.
Because you see this, you see them doing. If someone you follow on social media, you see them doing all the typical ones, and then if it, like for me, if they're on a podcast, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because they probably will touch on some of the things that they've spoken about on the others.
Yeah. You don't
get whole extra stuff.
That whole they'll have the same story, like the something that funny that happened backstage when they were making
or they'll tell a hilarious joke that involves swearing that they couldn't even dared to tell on TV. Or they would have do some condensed version. It's like comedians back in the day doing like Johnny Carson or The Tonight Show, but have to be family friendly, even though that's not what they're known for. I kind of feel sorry for them in that way. It's like they have to, but they've got to do it. Back then, you had to do it.
Unless you made your like Richard Pryor made his thing that he wasn't doing that.
That's true.
It's like
broke the mold.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. I don't think there's much future for TV in general as we know it.
No, I think it's very weird. It's interesting, isn't it, being in like this time where.
Imagine if like BBC One just stopped doing most, or most channels just stopped doing most normal. I like the dramas that they create, but again, they all go straight to the iPlayer or the ITV player.
But it's like,
not so much about being on TV.
Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen to the One Show? You know,
who gives a shit?
But like I know, because I'm not.
I still watch it sometimes if it's on.
I'm not keen on it, but I do wonder, like, is there something in being forced to watch something?
I think it's the older generation that's still here.
Yeah,
but like our parents' generation, they're probably the last generation that will hold that in high regard and look forward to it.
Yeah.
Like, looking through a TV guide for what's on. I think us, when we get to like 50, 60, we'll just be used to all digital. Our kids, they won't even give a shit.
But then it's like, how do we communicate anymore? I don't know.
through your phone, through a messenger. That's how they'll communicate. Your kids will be upstairs. You never say a word to them.
You know what are people's points of reference is going to be? You know, if everybody has the ability to watch exactly what they want whenever they want,
they'll just be watching stuff all the time and not talking.
Oh God,
it's like, we sound really old now, but like kids not going outside to play.
Yeah,
they're just always on a device of some sort.
To be fair, have you used a device? They're amazing. I love them.
They are, but I'm trying to limit myself.
Yeah,
because I don't think it's good to be on we weren't designed to be on devices with screens in our eyes all the time.
No.
It's probably why you need glasses. And I'm wearing contact lenses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because
What are you? Are you long or short?
Short-sighted. So I can see things close up easy.
Right, yeah.
But as soon as it gets to about there, I can see fuck all.
Oh, okay, yeah. Same.
And I attribute it to, I had a TV in my room, it was quite close to my bed.
Right, yeah.
So from when I was about, I'd say 16 when I needed glasses, and I didn't, at that age, wearing glasses was not an option.
Yeah.
So I was like, contact lenses!
Yeah. How do you do, what?
But the thing I was going to say was, I went from waiting for the bus with my mum, seeing it come over the hill, going, X5, that's us!
Yeah.
To fast forward to when I was like 2 years later, it would pull up and I'd go, right, yeah, that's ours.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
Whoa, you need to get your eyes tested.
I remember I was at my friend's house and he put on like the Fantastic Four in HD. And I was like, don't look any different, man. Don't look any different. And I was like, well, try my glasses on. And I was like, oh man, this looks great. Oh, I need glasses.
It's like, like 4K. If you've got a good eyesight, it's like, bloody hell.
Yeah, who'd have thought it was Dr. Doom that taught me that? Like so he did do some diagnosis, to be fair to him.
Yeah. But going back to that, I think a lot in society now is going to change in the next 20 years, 25 years.
Right,
the next generation, where we become the older generation.
Yeah.
And teenagers now become our age,
Mm.
I think there's going to be a shift in mainstream media, television, radio. I mean, radio.
Yeah.
Where's your listenership in radio today, other than cars?
I think that's it, isn't it? It's cars and building sites.
Again, the ones who are the older generation. Turn the wireless on.
Yeah.
Because it's just what they grew up with, so they still do it. Once they're gone, the next generation aren't going to be doing that.
It's interesting, isn't it, being in that?
Huge. I mean, we've seen the biggest change ever with the internet in the first place.
Yeah.
We couldn't have predicted that, but like the next change is like how we use it.
Yeah, and it's like now
More.
we're at a point where it's actually. I think like the thing with the internet was there was social change, but it wasn't like so pronounced and so divisive with generation. Like so much that they have that and these guys don't have that ability to use the internet, so they're completely lost.
Like there's a dichotomy now between the older generation, say like 50s and 60s now, who have embraced technology, whereas probably most of them, like your granny in a smartphone, it's like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
Some of them do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like there was that decision. I guess that's it, isn't it? That there was the generation that just didn't engage with technology, and now, like the much older generation, like our grandparents or great grandparents or whatever, they're sort of isolated a bit.
Yeah, they probably a lot of them want to.
Yeah.
But the fear, the technophobe.
Yeah. How do you even...
But it's like trying to teach your granny to suck eggs kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
It's like there was a meme I saw a while ago of like a baby had its hand on its phone. It was holding a phone and it had its hand. It's like, no, grandma, you don't do set the timer. It's just like that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Kids now are just going to grow up knowing all that shit.
Yeah.
Well, I've said it before. We're the last generation to remember. We had nothing.
Yeah, it's like we're like the had analog.
We're in the middle. We're
analog to digital.
We're the last of the analog generation. Yeah.
I remember having to put. Do you when you wanted to record something on a video, you could put a little code in.
Oh, TV Plus.
Yeah, that was it. Because something like that.
In the TV guide, this is for younger people now. Like what? You're flicking through the TV guide, the physical magazine, and each program would have a code next to it, and you have to put that in your video player. Yeah. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. Yeah. Sometimes it would record the wrong program. You're like, So it was flawed. It was a flawed system.
Oh yeah. Look, I'm not saying it was perfect.
And the other thing that some younger people will never experience is accidentally recording over like your wedding video or something.
Yeah, sure. You're never losing that.
With the FA Cup final. There's been like so many sitcoms have made it jokes about like Everybody Loved Raymond. Do you watch that?
I've watched bits of that.
He taped over their wedding video with football or something like that.
Have you seen? There's a great Twitter account called Modern Seinfeld, which is
I don't think so.
It's a Twitter account where they make new episode plots based on like modern
that's
stuff.
Brilliant.
So it's
you
like
know that Modern Seinfeld.
It's great. It's like George Costanza has a date with a woman, but it turns out to be a catfish. Meanwhile, Elaine has put a snarky comment on her LinkedIn. It's just that sort of, it's great.
Did you see Macaulay Culkin when it was like the anniversary of Home Alone?
Oh no!
Like, what it would be like today? And it was just him in his underwear and a laptop going, "Mom, I'm left at home. Come and get me." And she was like, "Okay, I'll send someone round now." Done. Finished. The end. It's just that's all those films are based like. The difference between stuff that's not even because there's no technology there.
Yeah, sure.
The writing, the thought behind it, the philosophy is all so simple.
Yeah.
Compared to now, you couldn't write something like that because people was like, well, I just WhatsApp my mum.
Yeah, you have to add, you have to build in like why can't they?
What would be the equivalent now?
It's too expensive. You kidding? That's not EO. That's not roaming charges. That's mad.
You couldn't. What would be the equivalent now? You couldn't.
Like you'd have to. It would have to be like. Power line. So there is the thing. There'd have to be like the broadband to get cut or something. You know what I mean? There would have to
now.
be. Yeah. It'd have to be like at the start. But they do have the bit at the start where I think the phone lines get cut in the house or something like. So it'd have to be like, oh no, all the Wi-Fi's gone. Do you think we can fix it? No.
That would be the kicker now. Like watching teenagers where the power goes.
Yeah.
So there's nothing they can do. Nothing. They're like, what would they? They couldn't think of anything to do.
Yeah,
like they'd just die.
Especially,
is this the end of the world?
Yeah, to them it probably would be.
Poor kids with the respirators, isn't it? Like they're the ones that I feel for.
But like, you've seen some parents with the punishment now is to take their phone away from them. That's the worst thing they could possibly think of.
Yeah.
Like Jason Manford made that joke a few years ago about, go to your room. So as a punishment, my room with all my phones and my devices and my computer, the best room in the house. Yeah, cheers. All right, I'll go. I don't know. But so what have you got coming up? Have you got any gigs coming up?
Yeah, I do. That's it.
Right, we'll leave it there then.
Yeah, all right. Let's open up the old diary. It's always good to have.
So I know you've got one in Newcastle coming up very soon.
Yes, I do. I think the date is changing for that. It's moving to January.
This is probably going to go up tomorrow. So
all right, well, fair enough. Come on, Eddie. Come on, head. Come on.
The signal here is not the best.
Should I just?
Have you got one of those hook things on the back of your phone?
I do.
Grip things.
Yeah, look at that. This is.
Have you seen
I
them?
got it to make videos a bit better.
Yes. Get better grip of your phone.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just going to go onto my page because that has
Maybe I
more
should have one.
information.
Because I've got little hands.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can't.
I'm all
And
for
you don't
it.
drop your phone.
Yeah, no. Well, I do still do that, but that's just being clumsy.
More stability.
Yeah, just a
It's only got little
bastard.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, man. Here we go. Okay, 16th of Jan. 16th of January, I know it's a while away, but
Yeah.
16th of January, I'm doing Hurst Schmurst at Tales of Whatever in Sheffield.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this. Tales
Yeah.
of Whatever. Is that a venue?
No, it's a night. So they're a storytelling night where they have people come and tell true stories. They don't necessarily have to be funny. They can be funny, but they just have to be true, and they have to be a story.
Right. What's the venue?
It's at a place called the Shakespeare in Sheffield.
Right.
But it's me and Nina Gilligan, who's really good act. She's great.
What's the Newcastle one?
Newcastle it's Daft Comedy, so it's a place called Bobbix, which
Right.
is upstairs in a hotel. I think it's called the Penguin Hotel or something.
All right.
And that's meant to be this Sunday, but it's going to change. So don't buy it. Well, buy a ticket for it, but
It'll still be valid.
it'll get changed. We're doing it in January instead, just to give. It's getting a bit close to Christmas, and
True. Yeah. People are a bit more selective around Christmas about what they do.
Yeah, and I want to. I don't know. Just
I think
fancy doing
people
it in Jan.
because December you get paid early, don't you?
Do you?
Everyone gets paid like
Oh yeah, of course you do
the
to get
week,
presents
just
and
before Christmas. Is it just before 24th, 23rd? I think people
that.
get
Yeah,
paid.
it must be.
So then you've got the last week of December and then all of January.
Yeah.
So people 5 weeks before, so people
Yeah,
get paid.
sure.
For a lot of people.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, what do? We don't go out. That's what we do.
Yeah, well, why not? It's colder. You're paying so much money to do stuff.
Yeah. Buying presents.
Yeah.
Extra costs that you don't have around the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favourite venues to play?
I really like.
That was supposed to be my first question I was going to ask
was
you.
it?
I just got to it now.
Hey, no, don't worry. All sorts of places. One of my favourite gigs recently was this night in Leeds called Lolshevism, which was
Bolshevism?
Lolshevism. So it's like Bolshevism, but with a
Right.
lol at the start of it.
Clever.
And it's just a really cool room, and the guys who run it are really nice, and the vibe's great. Vibe's great, man.
Vibe.
Hey, top five. Hey. But I don't know. It's just nice. It's like one of those rooms where, every time I've done it, the audience are really friendly and open. And also Excess Malarkey in Manchester that I mentioned.
Oh, yes.
They're great,
Yeah.
really comedy savvy audiences.
You do this comedy store in Manchester one?
Yeah, I do. I'm doing that again. I got booked in to do it next August,
Right.
so that's plenty of time.
Date for the
Plenty
diary.
of time to promote that. It's and then I do new stuff there as well, which is run by Toby Haydoke.
Right.
So they let me muck around on stage with my nonsense.
Have you found much difference in the ambience of rooms affects things?
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
shape of it and
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
acoustics of it.
Yeah, definitely. Like if there's if there's like a little corner where people can hide, most people will try and hide there, and then they're not properly in the show because they're not like really
true,
there.
yeah.
They want to remove themselves, and it's like, well, if you've deliberately chosen that for yourself, what experience are you going to have here?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. It's not tough. It's very easy. Of all the jobs in the world, like brain surgery's pretty. That's tough.
But also the difference again to playing like somewhere like an arena must
Yeah.
be like
Oh yeah,
the
'cause-
laughter, the distance.
Yeah, because like if
You
you,
have to
play those high ceilinged theatres, the laughter just travels up. So
I've heard comedians say you have to allow
yeah,
for sound travel.
yeah, exactly.
The bigger the venue,
Yeah.
to like wait till the laughs die down, then carry on with
Yeah.
it. And there's a skill to like saving your punchline until you know it's going to be heard, or repeating something if you feel there's a lot of noise.
Yeah, that seems to be
That's
the thing.
little things that people just pick up along the way.
Yeah.
Like Michael McIntyre, when I went to see him at where was it? I can't remember which. I think it was Manchester. but it was so big. And he's like, the size of this place is ridiculous. People, for all I know, I could be a fat Gok Wan. It's like, you have no idea. Well, do you think these people like got disappointed? They come down and sit down and they go, yeah, these are shit seats.
Well, that happened when I can't remember. There was a comedian that it was. Do you know Tape Face or Boy with Tape on His Face?
Don't think so.
So he's a New Zealand prop comedian. He's great. Like, his act's great. He doesn't say anything. He comes on big bit of tape on his face and he has these props and he plays with the audience.
Right.
But he had a run in Vegas recently because he went on America's Got Talent and I think he won or he was a finalist. Did really well. And he was doing his run in Vegas and he was ill one night or something. And so they had a stand-in. They had somebody else perform it. And loads of people were really annoyed. Because, they paid to see Tapeface. But he was saying, like, well, Tapeface isn't me. It's like an act. It's not just me personally.
It's someone with tape on their face.
And it was really, it was like that sort of idea of like, right, okay. So it doesn't have to be you in this. I mean, I guess it's a little different because that is specifically like there's shticks and stuff with it. But, like, you'd just call him a tribute act if it was somebody else doing somebody's material, wouldn't you? You'd think about it. But then... Yeah, I don't know. It got me thinking about that sort of stuff. Like, like when Michael McIntyre was saying anyone could come out there. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
maybe they could. Franchise.
Have you had experience with people recording on mobile phones?
A little bit, but it's
because it seems to be a new, especially a lot of American comedians are doing this. Is it Yonder, where you put your phone in a bag.
Oh yeah,
you have to put it in a locker outside.
Yeah,
because they don't want part of their stuff going online.
I think when you're like a big enough comedian that fortunately I'm not very successful. No, I mean I'm not at the point where somebody would film something I do.
Well, just the principle of it though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because the other argument going into music as well is I remember someone, I can't remember who it was, some rock star shared a picture of one of their gigs from like 1986. And it was everyone was stage diving, jumping around, and just put not a phone in sight. So they were all completely 100% enjoying the show. And I think it's like that for a lot of live events. People are always like, some people are just like messaging. They're not even like paying attention. Or some people live the whole thing behind the camera.
So infuriating when somebody's got their iPad.
Especially if you've paid money and it's something that you're into. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, don't put some shitty clip online for...
I always think like if you film it, like, oh, you're going to cherish that memory, aren't you? You're going to come home and you're going to love that you spent half the time filming that. It's just...
I always thought, why don't the artists, put a shitty camera to the side and say, look, I'll film it on a shitty camera and I'll give it to you later.
If you want to watch it, shit. Don't worry, I got it.
But it just seems those pictures just seem so much more pure of enjoying something.
Yeah. People being in that moment.
100% paying attention to what's going on. Like we are now. Like we've not looked at our phones the whole time we've been here. That doesn't happen very often anymore, does it?
No.
In most conversations or interactions with people.
Yeah.
There's a device involved at some point. It's like when you go to a restaurant, have you seen like the entire families on their phone?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Mum, dad, 3 kids.
Yeah.
Or the parents are like eating and talking, and all the kids they've just given them a device because it just seems easier.
Yeah. You're there, but you're not there.
I was like, I haven't got kids, so I can't. What does my opinion mean? But I try to think like, would you not say no phones? No, you're not even taking your phone. Otherwise, we're not going out because I want to. What's the point of going out? We're doing exactly what you do at home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get you, man.
Anyway, it's been fantastic to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark.
And we'll definitely do this again down the line when you're on, I don't know, live at the Apollo or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let me look in the diary, just see.
I appreciate you making the journey to be here.
Dude.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.